online, on mobile and on the go. Your official radio station for the community and Banbury United. This is Puritans Radio. Now, Peter Jones on Puritans Radio. Your station, your team, your community.
On a tour of one-night stands, my suitcase and guitar in hand, and every stop is neatly planned for a poet and a one-man band. Homeward bound.
Yeah, good morning. You probably noticed a mistake there. 1 minute into the show and I've got both tracks playing at the same time. This is Peter Jones with a 3-hour edition of the Food and Travel Show, coming to you live from Banbury Plant Hire Community Stadium. And the reason I played Homeward Bound, because I've got sat opposite me one of my favourite travel counsellors, and I only know two, Dawn Gascoigne. Dawn, welcome back to Puritans Radio.
Thank you very much.
And the reason I played Homeward Bound, because I guess a lot of your clients have been doing just that this last few days.
Including myself, yes.
Well, I noticed, I thought you'd be glowing, so I bought my glasses. But
you don't need them.
No, where have you been?
I've been to a resort called Molivos in Lesvos in Greece, and it was absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, back to lovely sunny UK.
Forgive me for asking, did you have to pay for this one yourself?
I did.
I bet you got discount.
I did not. No, it was fantastic. So yeah.
So, well, obviously, knowing you, I do know you, and of course I was watching for 5 o'clock in the morning, which I guess was 6 o'clock over there. So you had
7 actually. We were 2 hours ahead over there.
But you were still working away.
Just keeping an eye on things, but I don't need to really. Lindsay was in the office for the couple of weeks, hence why she's not here with me today, because she's got the rest of this week off with her children before they go back to school.
And what exciting things happening in the world of travel?
Oh, well, to be honest, because I'm just back, I've yet to catch up properly, but busy as always. Obviously, with people being away, it's busy keeping an eye on them and making sure that everything there's okay. But yeah, lots and lots of people travelling back this weekend, which I noticed myself, obviously, from the airport. It's exceptionally busy.
So did Lindsay have any dramas?
She did not.
No.
But I was given strict instructions not to contact her whilst I was away, because I do get a bit...
I know I've asked before, cruises, you don't do too many, you tend to...
We do cruises, yeah, we do. It's a huge market, massive.
It was one of the things that happened when you were away. It was probably might be just before you went away, and I actually went down to have a look. They had 5 cruise liners arriving in Southampton on the Saturday and departing, and on the Sunday another 5 coming in all the big ones. Yeah. And there were 55,000 people getting off. And 55, and it was absolute chaos. Absolute chaos. Yeah. They were using the cricket ground, the Rose Bowl, as a checking and bussing people in.
Well, to be fair, one of the benefits of cruising, and one of the reasons people like it so much, generally speaking, is the seamless check. It's so hassle-free compared to checking in at an airport. And literally, once you're on, and your holiday starts. So it is generally much easier. And actually, saying that, I'm going to do a ship visit in Southampton on a week today, going to see Silver Sea Cruises. Which for anybody that is into their cruises is very high end, and it's called the Silver Muse, which is their latest ship. So I've got an overnight on that on Monday night, which I'm really looking forward to. So
the boat in Southampton. There's a ship. I beg your pardon.
Yes, it's in Southampton.
But you don't go if you're on it for one night. You're not.
We don't go anywhere. No. We literally, it will be a talk from the CEO, a look round the ship, so you can get to have a feel for it, because what that then does with the nature of our business is because we know our clients so well, we can then quite often fit the product, so to speak, with the client. So there will be people, once I've been, that I'll think actually that will suit them perfectly.
Because cruising's not an old person's holiday.
Oh my goodness me, no. I think if we're honest, in the day it was, and it was also for people that were fairly wealthy. It was out of the average person's salaries reach. But it's changed so much, and also there are, you have your lead-in cruises, such as your Thompson cruises and such like, and then you've got everything then in between, right up to, Regent cruises, which are
when you see these adverts for cruises, the Daily Telegraph is always full of the travel section. And if you book early enough, you get. But they say, and then we give you £1,000
on board credit.
What?
It basically does. It runs like that, but it will depend on the cabin grade that you have. So it will say and from a certain amount of, or up to £1,000 onboard credit per cabin.
They're not giving you that; it's built into the price.
It's built into the price, of course, but
So,
then there is some element of book early, and you will get that. If you book late, those offers change, so you can have free parking, free coach travel down to the port. Those kinds of things are generally included booking early, and rarely included booking late. That's not to say they are never. It just depends on how well a cruise is sold, and sometimes it can, it can be the reverse, that you book early and then all of a sudden you see a deal on the same cruise booking late if it hasn't sold that well. But that is much less likely to happen.
And having said I'm not old enough, I went on a cruise in 1971 with a...
was that a cruise or a ferry?
It was a cruise. it was on the original Black Watch from Tilbury down to the Canaries.
Yeah.
And the young lady that is not the lady I ended up marrying, but the young lady I took with me dumped me on a cruise liner and went off with a croupier. He even switched cabins. So I then had 7 days on my own. Mind
you, to be fair, that's the best place to be if you're on your own. Cruising is a really social...
Well, not when the girl you've taken you with in the cabin next door with the croupier that she's pulled on.
Well, no, I suppose.
But one of the things that hit me then was the tipping side of things.
Yeah,
does that apply as well these days?
It does, but it's changed somewhat. So you can prepay gratuities, which the majority of people do. Very experienced cruisers tend to not, because they then prefer to tip. If they go on the same ship regularly, they actually know the crew. They'll have the same waiter every time. They'll probably have the same cabin number, hence the same cabin person every time. So they prefer to then tip those particular people rather than do a sort of, spray and pray. And you pay gratuities in advance, but that then means that for anybody that's not necessarily experienced, they don't have the potential embarrassment of not knowing what's what. So it's done.
I haven't got any money left.
Well, that couldn't be the problem. Yeah. But no, it's so easy. It's such an easy holiday, but it is very social.
It's no good for wallflowers.
Well, it's no good for people that really do want to be on their own, I suppose.
Mind you, having said that, I had a press release the other day from P&O, and they've got a lady on the Arcadia who now hasn't got off for nearly 18 months. Yeah. She just books back-to-back cruises. Yeah. Her argument is that it's cheaper than going into a home. Yeah. Her bed is changed every day. Yeah. It needs to be. She's fed. There's doctors. There's dentists.
Absolutely. That entertainment people. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, lots of people do. I wouldn't say that long, but we do have people that will do 3 months. They'll do part of the round the world. So yeah, it's. When you look at the initial price, I guess it's like anything. You can think, ooh. But when you actually properly break it down and look at what is included within that price and what you probably spend at home on a daily basis on heating, lighting, food, entertainment, the day-to-day things, actually, you'd be surprised. It is such incredible value for money.
There was one, it was about £600 a week, which I thought, oh gosh, that's quite good.
Yeah.
You offset that. I think there's a new nursing home in Warwick.
Oh goodness,
She's £1,400 a week.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it does make sense. And as I say, it's a very easy holiday. If you think from somebody maybe that's not as physically able, from that point of view, everything is accessible. So it is very, very easy.
And of course, the other thing that you ladies like, of course, you can take as many dresses with you as you want.
Oh, well, yeah, you can count me out of that. I'm not your typiple lady in that score.
You haven't got a little roll-on suitcase that you've got to cram everything for a fortnight?
Absolutely, yeah, I can easily do that. In fact, I'm going away again in about a month's time, and I am going for a week with hand luggage.
Anywhere exotic?
No, it's to my friend's apartment in Spain, but it's
that's
absolutely lovely, and it's one of my favourite weeks of the year because I have nothing to do.
Talking of exotic locations, the Galapagos Islands in the Telegraph this weekend, which somewhere off the coast of Ecuador, isn't it?
Yes, we've got clients actually going there next March. It is pricey. There's no doubt about it. It's exclusive. It's one of those places that a large percentage of people will probably have on their bucket list. It's got endemic species that you don't find anywhere else.
Commodore dragon things.
Yeah, it's Komodo. Is that what you mean?
The Commodores were a pop group, weren't they?
Anyway, I'm into my reptiles.
12 minutes into the show, I've made 2 mistakes and I've been told off once. Yeah.
But yeah, it is very exclusive. You can cruise it, which is probably a good way to see it. But yeah, absolutely stunning, beautiful.
It was the sort of place you only ever saw on the David Attenborough
absolutely,
programs and stuff
yeah.
like that.
And it is because it has so many species that are just purely endemic to that part of the world, which obviously for anybody that is into wildlife, animals, it's one of the places to go. So
and the other thing which I won't turn the paper over because it makes too much noise, but it's saying that South America now is opening up.
It is. It really is. It's been I think it's, if you ask a lot of people, it's somewhere that they would like to go, but they know very little about it. It appeals. It's got a lure to it, I suppose, because it's so undiscovered. Absolutely, that, yeah. But you can tour there. That's probably, if you want to see bits of each. I mean, that's the only other thing I would say is that the countries are huge. And if you people think, oh, we'll do a bit, do a bit of Brazil, we'll do a bit of Argentina, then we'll pop over to Chile, and the countries are huge. So quite often, and also the seasons are very, very different. So people that want to do, one part of South America and then another part, and think, that will be, the weathers can be totally different. So it's looking at what works best seasonally and the best time of year to go and which one to do first and all of that kind of thing. But yeah, it's definitely opening up, and somewhere that people that are fairly well travelled probably haven't done very much of. So are very keen to do. Costa Rica's just gone mad recently, well, in the last probably 2 years. And we've booked quite a lot there.
Bolivia is getting very... Bolivia apparently is getting very...
Yeah, again, I think
people seem to think that South America is a bit third worldish, but it's not.
No, well, I mean, there are parts of it but that's the same as anywhere. But there are parts of it that are, extremely exclusive and high end. So, and it is, it's not the cheapest place in the world to go to. So
there was a snippet on one of the television channels the other day of the world's worst airport to get into, which is somewhere in Peru, where literally I know.
Yeah, well, to be fair, even just coming back from where we came back from, the runway's short, which my eldest daughter's not that keen on flying, so that was one piece of information that we omitted to tell her. But yeah, there's lots of that. You can't let things like that stop you. You've just got to. If it's somewhere you want to go, you've just got to do it.
Talking of short runway, I mean, even up to 2 years ago, Madeira was a dodgy
airport. Yeah. That's
you were either going to take off or land in the sea.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Yeah. Well, we won't talk about the latter. We don't have any of that going on with our holidays that we book, Peter. I'll have you know.
Well, it doesn't. I mean, it's such a shame that air travel is one of the safest.
Oh goodness,
ways
absolutely,
of travel.
It is. It really is, and the frustration is there with, and it is an unreasonable fear, and people that are frightened of flying, they are aware of that. And when you try to say to them, you're more likely to have an accident in your car on the way to the air. They know all of that, but it is just, it's a bit like being scared of spiders, albeit it's irrational fear. But I don't know what you do about that. My view on most things is just get on with it.
And I know we've touched on it a couple of times in the past, and we've had another, since you and I last met in July, we had another incident with the business in Las Ramblas in Barcelona.
Yeah.
The tourists and the locals seem to do that to the. I mean, it was packed the next night.
Absolutely, yeah. And that was obviously all on the news and things. Again, because of my outlook and my view, that would be exactly what I would do and what I would say is just that, otherwise you absolutely don't go anywhere. I mean, that's not talking about go anywhere travel-wise. You can pop down to your local shop and an incident can happen. It's a mindset, and I'm not, obviously you can't speak for everybody, and some people do get more anxious and worried about things than others, but you just have to, if it's something you want to do, you take the relevant necessary precautions, as best you can, and you do it. Otherwise, you end up.
But every time there is an incident like that, they're
of course,
even local. Well, I was going to say even locally in Stratford-on-Avon, but I suppose Stratford's quite an international.
Yeah.
I noticed they put all bollards and
absolutely.
made waterside now is totally inaccessible.
And the thing is, at the end of the day, those things probably should be in place anyway, really. It's a bit, I guess, closing the stable door after the horse has bolted, so to speak. However, these places, Barcelona, being the latest one, are safer now to go to than somewhere else, because literally the security has been heightened.
You've been to Barcelona? What a stupid question.
I have been to Barcelona. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. You do have to watch your purse and your watch and everything else, but again, there are other places that are like that too.
We started. Where was it? I stayed the Avenue Diagonal or something.
Oh yeah, that region.
Used to just walk down and.
Yeah, no, it's stunning.
But I enjoyed the big
stunning
food market at the bottom of Bukeria.
Yeah.
But what I liked about Barcelona is that you could go from being in the middle of the city
to the beach,
sitting on the beach.
Yeah.
In a couple of hundred places.
I mean, that is a big appeal of Barcelona. It's one of the cities that you can do that. Obviously, there are the majority you can't. But generally speaking, when people go to a city, it is for a short break, and they are going to see the city. It's often a different kind of holiday to your beach holiday. But with Barcelona, as you say, you can combine the two. So if you've got a week, you literally can combine the two, have 4 days in the city, and then just have 3 days relaxing before you come home.
All right, a couple of quick questions, because I know this. I'm sort of really grateful because it's your first day back.
No problem.
Yeah, I'm honoured that Puritans Radio came.
Absolutely, a priority.
Yeah, before your intro. Well, no, you did your intro at 4 o'clock, I guess.
It was early.
City breaks.
Yes.
I went to, which I'm going to be talking about later in the show, to Dunkirk, which is absolutely superb. I was really amazed, because normally you get off and boom, head south. Where would you recommend as a city break? For us folks here in Banbury, we just want to go somewhere nice for the weekend.
Oh my goodness, there are so many. Which one would
do on shoot?
I love Marrakesh, and there will be.
Is that close enough for the
Oh yeah,
about 4 hour flight?
Yeah, but absolutely, yeah. But again, with Morocco, there are some people that may not be as keen to do that.
Actually, Morocco,
Lisbon,
of all of those North African countries, Morocco is probably the safest at the moment. And Marrakesh, if you want to go somewhere that is just so unique, that's not that far away, it's stunning. It's absolutely lovely. But Lisbon, I've had quite a few people going to Lisbon recently. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful city. Sorry, newsflash, Kate Middleton's expecting again. Oh, goodness. We bring you the news as it happens.
Oh, we do.
I went to Marrakesh in the 60s.
I've been a few times. I love it. Absolutely adore
I
Marrakesh.
got propositioned by a chef. Do you remember Robert Carrier?
I do not.
Oh, he lived in... a very nice chap. He lived in Marrakesh. No, it's a long story. So Marrakesh, yeah. What I like... Well, it's great that we've asked you that, because I wouldn't have picked... Yeah, I would have expected Rome, Paris, all the usual ones, Dublin.
Yeah.
But no, Marrakesh.
But there are lots of places now that are opening up. You can do Dubrovnik now for a lot. I mean, Croatia's gone mad, and Dubrovnik is just beautiful. Easily can do that for a weekend. And with all of the low-cost airlines, there are places, Slovenia, Slovakia. There are loads of places that are all opening up that aren't that far away, that you can literally go for a weekend.
Well, virtually daily, I'm getting press releases from Birmingham Airport.
Yeah.
Yet another airline.
Yeah.
I think Jet2 have now made it their major base.
Yeah.
And there's some great deals, really, really cheap deals. Not the sort of deals that travel counsellors
Of course they are. Absolutely, we do all of that.
What, you'd send them on a 40 quid return?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. If we get the cheapest price we possibly can. Yeah. Yeah.
Brilliant. But Marrakesh, I suppose you'd have to go from Heathrow to Marrakesh.
No, you do Luton.
Can you?
You can get out of Luton. You can do and Gatwick. But it's like you say, it's that bit further. But again, if you wanted to go in something like March or April, going somewhere like that, you are much more likely to get the weather because it's that bit further.
You mentioned Luton, and we just mentioned Birmingham Airport as well. Both of them in the last month or two have opened their new super drop-off zones. The new drop-off at Birmingham is about a 10-minute walk, but the super drop-off is, and I can't see how it works. I mean, my mum's 92 and still goes off to see and I can't just drop her off. I have to see her in, and
absolutely
she can't walk from. But there was some guy doing his nut the other week. 60 quid his ticket cost him in the super drop off because he hadn't.
Because he was too long.
It's about £1 for the first 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And the new one at Luton is really efficient, but they've got the road system wrong.
There's so much going on at Luton though still. I mean, it's not the easiest airport at the moment to navigate. It is horrendous. It is really busy. I'd probably rather go to Gatwick.
Have you ever flown in a private jet? Just turn up into...
No. No, I haven't.
That's on my bucket list.
Oh, well, when you get your invite, you can take me along with you, Peter. That would be great.
Best offer I've had today. Right, and then last thing, any awards lined up for this year? What's next after gold?
Oh, no, gold is
as high as you can get.
Yeah, that's as high as you can get, and we're on for that. By the end of October, we have to have qualified again, so that's all looking good. But Lindsay and I are off to it's a Carib Tours, which is quite a high-end Caribbean tour operator. We're going to the Ballroom at Claridge's next week for an awards dinner. And also a hotel in London, which is my absolute favourite hotel in London, called the Montague on the Gardens. It's stunning. It's in Bloomsbury, and we've got an event there, and that's the following Thursday. So
you'll be wearing your posh frock.
We'll be wearing up, not to that one, but we will to Claridge's. Yeah. So all loads going on, loads.
Okay. Well, thanks for your time. We're actually now going travelling, but we're not going very far. We're just going up the road to Chacombe, where there was a change of landlord and landlady earlier in the year, February time, taken over by Gemma and Ian Povey, who were here at the Coach and Horses and Butchers Row, and have moved from a town pub to a country pub. And I went and sat down with Gemma last week, and if the technology works, I had a long chat with her, so we'll listen to that, and she'll give time to Dawn to go back and look after all her clients. Dawn, thanks again for your time.
Thank you very much.
And hopefully here's Gemma. Right, this morning I'm finding myself out in, well, I suppose you could call it my local. I've been drinking here for 40 years, even though I don't live in the village. And I'm sat with Gemma Povey, who is it landlady the right word, or?
Oh, I don't know. Landlady, business owner, all-round dog's body.
Of one of the most successful pubs in the area.
Yes.
Yeah. But the thing that intrigued me that we chatted. By the way, we were also joined by Dexter, who sat on the floor. He's already lit me on the face, so he's gone quiet now.
He's more famous than I am, to be honest.
And of course, what was quite nice, we had a chat the other day, because you were at the Coach and Horses in Butchers Row there for 2.5 years in Banbury.
Yeah.
Bit of a culture shock coming to the country?
I suppose it was a little bit. It's I think people believe that a village pub is quieter than a town centre pub because there's obviously more people in the town centre, but actually there's more places for people to go in the town centre. So out in the village, the people that are coming here want to come here. They're not just, shall we pop into that pub and see what it's like? They've made a conscious effort to come out here, which is wonderful. To have so many people that come in through the door every single day, some more regularly than others, it's wonderful because you get to build up a rapport with people. We certainly were stepping into big shoes, I guess. Chris Peverell, that had run the pub, and John before, they were very well thought of by the locals, by the regulars, by people in the centre of town, when we started to tell them that we had been successful in being offered the George and Dragon. So you do sort of think, oh God, are we going to mess this up before we've even started?
I was going to ask. I thought that might be a bit sensitive, but as you start, was it because it was a very successful pub?
Yes.
Was it difficult to how do you build up a successful business?
Yeah, the thing is that for us, the difference between here and the Coach and Horses was, for want of a word, the drinking side.
Yeah.
People came to the Coach and Horses for my husband's food.
Yeah.
Out and out, they'd go elsewhere for drinks.
Yeah.
We had a few regular drinkers, but
Ian is the chef.
Yeah. But out here, people more came here, so we have come to believe more for the atmosphere overall. So the drink and the food combined, that for us, we could step in and do very little in regards to the bar and the drink side of things, because it was working. There was no need to change anything at all. I think the only thing that we changed was the wine supply, because we had our own wine supplier at the Coach. People that have followed us from the Coach to the George, they like the fact that the wine that they drank there is still here. So that was pretty much the only thing we changed, apart from a few chairs, much to the unhappiness of some of the staff.
I've got two pubs that if the weather is nice. My friend that I meet here, Dougie, on Sundays, he lives in Thorpe. I live in Mollington, so this is halfway house. If the weather's nice, he gets out one of his nice cars and we go and sit in the well, we can't anymore because it's closed down. The Avon Dasset, it is reopened.
Yes.
But our favourite place to sit is in the fireplace there in the winter.
Yes.
And because we've been doing it for so long, I mean, we've turned into a couple of, I can't say old whatsits, but the word I want to use. We come in here on a Sunday, people get up and say, "Oh, sorry, gentlemen, you're basher. Sorry, I'll get your seat warm."
Yeah.
It's brilliant. What I do like, though, here, and it's always been a constant, the drinking crowd, the regulars.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's almost like a club.
Yes.
It's the same crowd, and it's really nice. What I find absolutely amazing is that the eating crowd, it's always different folks.
Yeah.
The geography of this place, because you see a lot of people visiting their relatives across the road and bringing them in here.
Yeah.
But equally, the proximity to the motorway, you're the closest pub to junction that offers good food. And, TripAdvisor reports are always superb.
Yes. Nowadays people are slowly starting to move away from convenience food on a journey, and I believe that there are various different websites that are, off the motorway.com and type thing, various different
TripAdvisor,
websites.
I think, is the big one, isn't it?
Yeah, so that people, if they can have a detour off the motorway but not a ridiculously long one, that's trying to get into the centre of Banbury just in general is a nightmare. Then you've got to work out which pubs have got a car park, all the rest of it, whereas you can come off, turn right, 5 minutes down the road and you're here. So it is so much easier for people to not have to either stop to Oxford or to carry on up to, I forget where the next one is.
Birmingham, isn't it?
Yeah. Well,
and the other thing you notice as well is that because of the job I'm in, I'd love watching people. But the number of, again, the geography of this place, folks coming up from down south, meeting folks coming up from, stick a pin in the map of England and boom, it's bang on Chacombe, isn't it, more or less?
Yeah, we had a lot of that at the coach as well. You'd get people meeting each other. You'd get one half of a table of four. Oh, well, we're meeting our friends. They're travelling up. So Banbury in general is a fantastic sort of middle of the country spot. And to have a pub that is just off the motorway is wonderful.
Yeah, Banbury, I find I've been in Banbury since '71, and it's I get the feeling that Banbury's I think it's ready to go places, but it seems to be taking a long time to do that.
Yes, yeah.
You feel like you want to pick it up and shake it.
Yes, yeah, and we're very proud of the time that we spent there and the work that we put into the coach and horses. We worked our socks off for 2.5 years.
I can remember coming in.
But it is a town that is struggling, as you say. It's one of those towns that does need to come up, but I don't know what it is that will make it happen, because the gateway is disliked by most people within Banbury, but it might bring people from outside of Banbury, but it doesn't bring them into the centre of town. No. That pedestrianised area that could be so beautiful. Parsons Street is gorgeous, but the High Street and, for us, Butchers Row, it's just a back alley. Yeah. Trying to make that a central part of the town is so difficult when half of the shops in Castle Quay have gone because they're now out of the gateway. It's almost like a bit of a vicious circle. I know they've got a development down at the canal.
But that's going to be mostly
forward.
Eating houses, which isn't going to help the pubs and stuff.
No. So in a way, we're kind of glad that we came out when we did, because if you bring in chains, that's where people go, because they've got the ability to, do offers, vast offers, 20%, 50% off, buy one, get one free, all that kind of stuff, which for Ian and I, that hits our back pocket. It doesn't hit anybody else's back pocket but our own. So we try and do offers that benefit everybody, benefit us as well as the customer.
I like the way on the website as well you name your various suppliers.
Yes.
You said you switched the wine supplier.
Yes.
Who do you get your meat from?
We get it from Steve Betts.
Oh yes, yeah.
Steve Betts.
That's refreshing, because nearly every other place you go to, it says on the bottom of the menu, our meat supplied by Aubrey Allen.
Yes.
Yeah, which is premium prices.
Ian would be the better one to speak to you about all of that.
But no, the Steve Betts is.
Yeah, I know that Ian has dealt with Aubrey Allen in the past, and he says that it's very expensive, but it's not very local. And we use Steve at the coach because his back door was right next to our back door.
If somebody came in and wanted a couple of pork chops, you didn't need to keep any stock. You could just run out.
No. So I know we spoke to Banbury Butchers when they first came into town, but you for the convenience or for the cheaper price that they were offering, which some people would grab, Steve Betts has been wonderful to us. And to be able to phone up or literally walk around the corner when we were at the coach and say, I need some sausages, or you know, whatever had sold out that lunchtime, made life so much easier. And when we said that we were coming over here, both him and Gary Penn, our veg supplier, they have both been so supportive.
Gary's local as well?
Yeah, he's over in Colworth.
Yeah.
So he even lent one of his vans when we were moving so that we could get the barbecue and the bikes and various different stuff out from the coach. So they've both been fantastic suppliers. That to us is worth more than...
And do you still get locals coming in with a couple of pheasants and...
we've had a few come in and say that they've got... there's a lot of lambs, I think, nearby that have recently been slaughtered, but we've taken it on, but for ourselves, so our freezer is stuffed full of lamb. I
can remember sitting here once and a bloke came in with 4 rabbits and you're just hanging and put everybody off their lunch.
I don't think I could cope with that. Ian would be fine with it, but I'm not sure I would be quite so happy. But no, we use... I know that Steve Betts gets some of his meat from Mr. Stroud. And the two, Mr. and Mrs. Stroud, come in and drink in here as well, you know, so we try and keep things as local as possible. Fish is a bit difficult because you could be further from the sea in Banbury, so we just kind of get from wherever we
it makes me laugh, it's still only 68 miles, the closest sea, I think but again, because it's M&J Seafood.
M&J. We also use Hayman's as well. They're based in Oxford, so M&J, they're based in Aylesbury. I mean, I know they're a nationwide company, but it is one of those areas where there isn't really a local fishmonger to go to have a chat with. So we try and keep it as fresh as possible. Is what we have. All of our fish comes in fresh, which is more important to us. So.
And where do Ian and Gemma go to eat on the nights off?
A night off?
Well, you've got to have one.
Without joking, we at the moment we don't get much time off, but when we do, it is always quite difficult because you can't help but go out and watch what other places do. Not necessarily to try and knock them down a few pegs. It's just to see how other places do it. So over the years, we've been out to the White Horse at King Sutton. We went to the Inn at Farnborough when it was the Inn at Farnborough. I know it's now the Kitchen. Where else have we been? We've been out to the Indian Queen. Ian likes a good curry, so
it's interesting because I said to her on this show we like to have a different pub or restaurant, and I always ask whoever I'm interviewing, where do you go to eat on your night off in Banbury? And everybody has to think. They can't. It's unfortunate. Banbury. Now that you've moved out of Banbury's a bit of, not a gastronomic. That's probably too grand a term, but it's this. For a town of its size, you go to Warwick, for example. There are 80 different places to eat. Quality within the town centre. And Banbury. Once you've been to the Thai Orchid and the Coach and Horses, where else is it?
Yes, I mean we always used to joke. If we were in town, the only place that we would go and eat would be the Coach and Horses. But that's not quite so fun for us if you've got to cook your own food. Which is a real shame. We would go to Pizza Express, on the odd occasion. Siam House is probably one of our favourites in town. The girls in there are lovely, and as I say, Ian likes a good curry, so he's regularly popping into Jewel on towards the top of Parsons Street. The guys in there are lovely. So
I was an absolute philistine last night. We've already mentioned the Gateway, and I'd nipped into Marks and Spencer's and got one of their curries. Bing, bing, bing. That's all I needed last night. Right, let's back to the George and Dragon and booking essential.
I would always suggest it.
I've noticed on Sunday lunchtimes, and I know you sort of don't like doing it, but I've seen. They just turn up.
Yes. I mean, the pub industry is a tricky one in that you can have one day and it's packed out, and then the next day you're wondering if you've done something wrong, if you've said something and words got around. Every day is different and every weekday is different, so you can't even necessarily say that for example, this week Tuesday night was the really busy night, but generally Tuesday nights are our quietest night. It's still a busy-ish, but all of a sudden everybody decided that they wanted to go out on Tuesday night this week. When we've got particular offers on, we always recommend it. It's our gourmet steak night tonight. We do that once a month, and that's tonight. And last month we were fully booked, and we did have to turn tables away, unless it's nice weather, and then people say, can I sit outside? But in good old England, you can't always depend on the weather being nice, which is good for us. It's a shame that people then have to sort of turn away and find somewhere else to eat. But yeah, we would always recommend people phone up and book. Just if nothing else, it's peace of mind knowing that you've got a table and we know when you're coming in. It's when everybody descends on you all at the same time, and you have to try and work out who to go to next, who needs a drink, who needs a food order, and Ian's bellowing in the kitchen to say there's food ready. So it's
which is one of the first times I've parked in the car park, and usually park outside because it's I mean, Dougie and I meet. Well, we're a bit traditional of Sunday lunchtimes, but because of our diaries, it's either Friday night or Saturday. And Friday, you get here at 5 o'clock on a Friday, it's absolutely rammed out there. It's all the guys from the motor trade that sort of Dexter's off. No, don't worry about it. Just to go back to, I mean, I wasn't going to mention when you first came here, but you brought it up. But from a local's point of view, we were all nervous.
Yes.
Yeah. But what are the new people like?
Yeah.
And was it the same for you?
Yes. But I think on our side it was more a worry of what is everybody going to think of us.
Yeah.
You know, because you're stepping into a village pub where, you know, a bit like Cheers, everybody knows your name. You know, you kind of step in and...
People in villages don't like change.
No, some less so than others.
Yeah.
But I like to think that Ian and I are fairly approachable most of the time.
I think you're brilliant. I mean, one of the things I think is fantastic is golly gosh, with the predecessor as well. I don't think I've actually ordered a drink for 3 years. You know what I drink, and it's been poured when I get to the bars. I think
it's the little things. For me personally,
that's what makes a difference. It does make a difference.
I always try and remember people by their drinks. Sometimes their names will escape me. I remember.
Names must be difficult.
Our very first day of opening, we weren't doing food, and I had.
You had kitchen being refitted.
Basically Ian ripped it all out and put it back in again. So Ellie was working, who's since moved on to pastures new, and Debs was working, and one by one all the regulars were coming in. Right, this is John, and he drinks Foster's. Right, okay. This is John, and he drinks this.
Yeah.
Right, okay. And this is John.
So all these Johns.
At some point, somebody's going to have a different name.
Well, the rest of us are all called Peter.
Or Dave.
Yeah.
Right, this is Dave, and he drinks Tiger. And this is Dave, and he drinks Tiger. And I'm like, oh my goodness me. How on earth... The standing
you
joke,
do after a while, don't you?
The standing joke now is that everybody's in this pub is either called Dave or John. And you can't go wrong, really. But I'll always remember their drinks.
Yeah. But not the names.
Not necessarily their names.
To be quite honest, I think that's the right order, isn't it? Yeah, get the
yes, I'm sure that's what people would prefer.
Okay, one last thing, then the future. Because I don't... Are you tenants, manager? How does it work?
We are tenants. So we're here at the moment on a 3-year tenancy basis. So our aim is to improve the food sales, because the drink sales are pretty good. If we can improve them, then that's great. We want to put our stamp on Chacombe, our own stamp. Yes, I like to think so. The food is slowly getting there. It's just trying to make the pub, well, you can't really make it the centre of the village, because it already is. You know, it doesn't, I know it sounds terrible, but it almost doesn't really need a lot. I personally would like to paint a few walls. I'd like to change a few of the chairs and the tables, but that's a girly thing to do.
Yeah.
But we basically just want to improve everything where it needs to, but some of it doesn't really need improving. It just needs
tweaking.
Just needs love.
Yeah.
And we fell in love with this place a long time ago.
It's what always been. Yeah, it's been. In fact, I'm trying to think when Ray Bennett was landlord. That must be 20. Lives in South Africa now, but I do a lot of. I used to do a lot of sailing, and Ray was part of my my crew.
Yeah, for us to have very close.
There's always been an Everard's pub.
I believe so. Yeah, very close has kind of been inherited as our back garden.
Yeah.
So Dexter in the morning will quite happily let himself out and bound over into the field and play with all of his mates.
We usually see Ian coming back from his
Yes. Well, I took him out early, so I'll probably take him back out again in a minute. You know,
he looks like a dog that needs a lot of walking.
Yeah.
How long have you had him?
Since he was a puppy.
So I bet he loves the country.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
He does. You know, the coach and horses was great, but to get down to Spiceball, it was a 15-minute walk. Yeah. Once you're down there, it's fine, but there wasn't an instant garden for him to run around in. There isn't here either, but that's why we've taken on very close as our back garden.
Ambition to own your own freehold eventually?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think if you ask Ian, I think last year his idea was to have about 3.
A chain?
Yeah, I'm not sure who he thinks he's going to be doing that with, because I don't think I could run 3. We ran both the George and the coach together for just shy of 4 months, and that.
Where's you at?
That was hard work.
Because the big success story, if that's the right word, seems to be the Falcon at Warmington.
Yeah.
Which is again part of it. Brunning and Price own it. Funny enough, going back to Ray Bennett that I mentioned, Graham Price, he was another member of our sailing crew, but he just had one pub then up in Chester.
Yeah.
I know he's retired, but but they're part of just a massive chain and getting bigger and bigger.
Yes.
And you go there. Okay, it's okay, but you come out feeling you've been processed, if you know what I mean. Yes. Yeah.
Yes. We've eaten there a couple of times. I definitely had pub envy from the size of it, the wonderful fire pit in the middle of the room, and the size of the bar shelving, the amount of gins and vodkas that are up there. I mean, we've got about 20 gins, but I've run out of space now. I'd love to have more, but I don't know where.
Do you know the record number? It's funny. I was talking to somebody the other day. The record number of there's a competition to see who can have the most gins behind the bar. I was at a pub in Burford, the Maytime Inn in Asthall, who were quite proud of their 66.
Right.
The guy who is in the lead at the moment is a hotel in Manchester.
Yeah.
Just over what it was 675 last
yes,
time.
I mean you could go absolutely mad with it.
It's a drink though, isn't it, Jen?
Yeah. And it has been for a long time, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down in any way. Everybody was under the impression that rum was the next up and coming, so we got in a few different rums, and it's just not taken off because gin just continues to get better and better, because now you've got, I think, you know, if you've got 600 odd gins, I think you've now probably got a good 20 to 30 tonic waters that you should have with it now. Yes. Long gone are the Britvic and Schweppes. Now, you know, the next thing was obviously Fever Tree, but now that's just gone wild as well.
Just one other thing as well, where you've got regular trade, but which you would probably rather not have, is I've just noticed, because your first choice for wakes, aren't you, with the church being next door? I've been to quite a few in here.
Yes, so it's a wonderful pub that is everything to everyone. We have Sports and Social Club come in here for their meetings. We have the PTA come in and have their meeting. I know that Aunt Sally, we've got our last game of the season tonight. You could probably call it a local derby. It's against the New Inn in Middleton Chimney, and then that finishes, and then Quiz League starts. So there's always something going on in the pub, which is great, because
and that's as well as the other ideas.
Yes. Well, I've already been asked about a dartboard, but I don't have a wall long enough to be able to fit it.
Darts coming back then, or?
I don't know, but I know there's Skittles, but you need to have
you've got
space. Yes, exactly. So.
Okay, well, that's been brilliant. Yeah, thanks for your time, Gemma.
Thank you very much.
I will wish you all the success in the future, but I know it's going to happen anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll be back on Sunday.
Yeah, see you then.
Thank you very much.
Oops, no good talking if there's not a microphone in front of me. That was Gemma Povey, and Gemma and Ian have, as you probably heard if you were listening to that interview, have taken over the Georgian Dragon at Chacombe, and
which has always been a very successful pub, and you'd think it might be difficult to improve, but they're doing a sort of really good job on it. Now, I've been joined in the studio by Deborah Menikoff-Simmons, who regular co-presenter and big foodie, and she and her husband Neil, superb photographer, and tends to take all the pictures of all the events in Banbury. And one of the recent events, very successful, was the Banbury Food Fair. And I'm going to shut up and we're going to listen to Deborah, who's going to... Oh dear. Deborah, Banbury Food Fair. It's a bit of a riddle, but Deborah's going to talk to us about Banbury Food Fair. And then afterwards we'll go to the news, and then we'll listen to the interview that we did with the guest chef that were there, and I'll let Deborah tell you who that was as well.
Thank you very much. Thanks for not locking the door and letting me in. It's a food fair. Yes, it seems a lifetime ago now, and it was just the other day. Well, about a week and a half ago. It was an absolutely beautiful day, which was really nice because the food fair before it was raining. I don't know how many people were there. I know it seemed crowded, but not unmanageable. There's been some rearranging of the booths. The flow was really good. Had all the usual things for food fair. About 120 vendors. There were cookery demos all day in Town Hall. They had a new element in Town Hall, which was this vintage tea room. I am by no means knowledgeable about tea, but the tea ladies were really understanding about that. And
if I can just, I did say I wasn't going to interrupt. I saw the sign to the vintage tea room, but I didn't. I didn't go. What? So what have they done?
Well, it's a company that does these sort of retro vintage teas, with this sort of old-fashioned bunting and tons of sort of very retro, tea kettles and stuff like that. And they set it up in one
buns
of the...
with icing sugar on top.
Lots of different baked goods. I saw lots of them. And it was just another place to sort of sit and have something to eat. This one, because there's tables all across the food fair, particularly in the areas where the vendors are serving food. But sometimes you just want to go inside and sit down. And it was just another element. It went really, really well. The ladies were absolutely fantastic. Every time I poked my head in there, it looked like they were going great guns. It was another way to sort of draw people into the town hall, and not a lot of people go in there for stuff, but a lot of events happen in there. There's, spaces you can use for all sorts of stuff. It's a great venue for stuff. And in putting things like the vintage tea room and having the cookery demos in there, I think is a really great way for people to see this sort of space. So that was going on in Town Hall. There was music up by the food and produce show marquee. That marquee is going to have to get bigger. This show, the food and produce show, is actually older than the food fair. Food fair, I think, is 6 or 7 years old. The produce show, I think, is 11 or 12 years old, and had more categories this year. And I went in, and once again, I was like really impressed by the scope and the scale of the entries, but also slightly puzzled because, let's say you've grown a 4-foot leek. Other than displaying the leek, what do you do with a 4-foot leek? How much leek do you need?
It makes a lot of soup.
Well, I guess it would. And I know a lot of it is about sort of the presentation of your, 4 identical onions and that kind of thing.
If I can just interrupt, I was asked by Anne Sewell, who thinks she set the whole thing up, to judge the photographic competition.
Yes, which is a newish kind of aspect
also
to it.
In there. And I couldn't believe how serious the produce
the judges are. Very serious.
They all put their white coats on and their badges.
Oh yeah.
The man, you go back to the leeks, he gets a ruler out.
Oh, it's very precise. Yeah, I've seen it done at other produce shows. It's not just the people at the judges at this show. Yes. It's anyone who judges those. It's very serious business.
And again, with the ladies judging the jams, they got so excited because they were able to disqualify somebody because there was a beautiful label, hand done label on.
Was it crooked?
No, it was absolutely perfect. It was this little thing on the back that said 39p from Aldi.
No!
They left the Aldi price label on.
Why does someone do that? It's like people who download pictures. Yeah, Why would you're cheating yourself? You're not accomplishing anything. Yeah. It's not your picture. It's not your jam.
But I was just amazed how strict they were.
Yeah. Well, no, I'd seen footage of other produce shows and the judging. But it's, people get really competitive about it. My leek is bigger than yours and, that kind of thing.
Well, we've been doing that since we were little boys.
Yeah, I know. But actually, one of the things I love about the Flora and Produce show, the category I really like is the one where they use shoes or hats as the vehicle for the floral arrangement. I also like the children's food art. There were a couple of really great birds. There's always a really great bird made out of a pineapple or something. So there was a Flora and Produce show, which was the very high standard that it always reaches. But I'm thinking they're going to have to make that marquee bigger. It's getting pretty tight in there. And so the music was over there. They had a lot of sort of vendors doing barbecue and bratwurst and burgers and tapas and all sorts of things over in that sort of Cornhill entrance to Castle Quay area, that circular where the cross was originally. Lots of tables in there, which was actually set up extremely well. Neil and I had a steak sandwich from Toro Poco, which described itself as tapas, but, was offering these sandwiches, which are not tapas. But, and the sauce was really amazing. The steak itself, and he warned us, he did say, he goes, now, the steak is going to be on the rare side, which for Neil and I is fine. We would prefer to have it rare anyway. But I think a really competent vet could have resuscitated this animal. And I was like, I don't know. A lot of people, we were sort of taken aback by it, so I think a lot of people might have been. What else did I have?
Especially something being served in there,
yeah.
Kept warm all day long.
I mean, very nice man, though, and I love the food trucks. I like the way these different vehicles have been adapted to be a coffee stand or a bar or a restaurant. And he had was a Citron something, which Neil could tell you what it was, but it was absolutely fantastic looking. Then I had
that would be suggest to Anne next time you're out for a drink with how about a street food, just
all food trucks.
Yeah,
I think that's a great idea. And then what else did I have? Oh, there was the entertainingly named Monkey Puzzle Coffee. I had iced coffee from them. I love iced coffee, and they did a superb one. But they were also doing affogato, and it was absolutely incredible. They were absolutely lovely, too. She remembered, because I'd seen the affogato sign early in the day, and had mentioned it. And then when I came back by after lunch, she said, I didn't have to say anything, didn't prompt her. She goes, is it affogato time? So, I was like, yes, but not content with the sugar high from that. I also had an enormous chocolate-covered donut from something called Donuttery. It was a great name. This donut was quite literally, it was just a regular chocolate-covered donut, except for the size. It was the size of my head. And I was just like, I'm never going to be able to finish this, and yet I managed. I did literally eat my way across that area. When I wasn't eating my way across Marketplace, I was at the demos. Syra, which I hope I haven't mispronounced, Syra Hamilton, who had been one of the finalists on the non-professional MasterChefs. She'd been in law enforcement, went to the finalists, became a chef. She's extraordinary, and offered me some chili mojito, which was nice. So, and
I was wondering when we were going to get to the alcohol.
Yeah. There was, and then Andrew Scott and Nick Bennett had come back, second year in a row. They're absolutely fantastic. But of course, the highlight demo was Rosemary Shrager. And I think everybody involved was like, oh my God, Rosemary Shrager's coming. We're so nervous. But she's so lovely, and she was so nice. And people still are talking about how fantastic her demos were. It also tied in with that everyone now has this chance to see her on TV and Cooking Showdown. But she was really, really lovely. And I think her demos were really informative and fun. And she wouldn't let anyone film her singing. She said it had to stay there. It was quite, just a secret thing. But it was worth seeing. It was definitely worth seeing. So food fair, big fun, lots of food, lots of fun demos. And always one of my favorite events.
So the highlight for you?
The highlight for me was probably actually getting to chat with Rosemary Shrager. I bet it was one of the highlights for you, too.
Just another woman. No, we were all frightened to death of Rosemary.
Yeah, we were all really nervous.
We've seen her on the... and initially, she didn't want to do an interview. And it was only, we pulled a couple of strings and reluctantly...
But such a nice
agreed
lady.
to 10 minutes. And in the end, we got 20 minutes out of it. And I had a very nice note from her because we gave her a bag of Banbury cakes.
Yeah.
Which she tried to... to reproduce at home, but she hasn't been able to get enough puff pastry and dead flies in a steamroller to make them.
Now, that's not fair. If they were that bad, you wouldn't be giving them to everybody.
Well, these are the original ones, still
Yeah.
made by a member of the Brown family, which I think they're the same ones that are sold in Chandler's and the same ones that are sold.
Yeah, they are.
I think there's several.
Granary has them.
There's
yeah.
a lot of people in town selling Banbury cakes, but there's only one person
Making
left producing them.
Yeah.
All right, Deborah, thanks for that.
No problem.
We're going to go to the news, and then we're going to listen to my chat with Rosemary.
This is Puritans Radio. It's not just about the football.
Now, Peter Jones on Puritans Radio. Your station, your team, your community.
Yes, you're back with me, Peter Jones, coming to you live from the Banbury Plant Hire Community Stadium, the home of the wonderful Banbury United, having a terrific run at the moment. It was the first round of the FA. The road to Wembley started on Saturday, and I think they won 4-2. And then this week's excitement is at home to Frome, or I don't know how you pronounce it. It's either Frome or Frome. They're from Somerset. It's where Jenson Button was born, by the way. And kick-off there is at 2:30. And come down and watch the match. It's not desperately expensive to get in here. You can climb over the fence at the back, but I'm not allowed to say that. Or listen to it on Puritans Radio. Talking of Puritans Radio and listening, loads of ways of doing it through your smartphone, your smartphone, your tablet, PC, laptop. Oh, there's hundreds of ways. Posh televisions, posh radios, or as I say time and time again, and it's actually getting boring, come down here, sit on the pitch, and we'll open the windows and you'll listen. And this is also the point in the show where I tell you what's happening later on Puritans Radio. A lot of live stuff today. We've got 007 himself in Ian Fleming this afternoon, and then later on Matt's bag, sports round, lots of good stuff going on. And talking of good stuff going on, this is where I tell you about the good stuff that's happening in Banbury this week. Right, we've done that. No, last week was a great week because we had both the farmers market and then the weather shone. It was a beautiful day for the old town. Was it
the Banbury Old Town?
Banbury Old Town Parade
Fiesta.
with the organs and stuff. So yeah, it was really good. I'm not 100% certain if there is anything exciting this week in Banbury.
I think there's a food, like world food market going on this weekend. I can't remember whether it's Saturday or Sunday, but I did see a big banner at the Banbury Cross roundabout. And coming up, I guess it's October 1st. It's several weeks away, but just so everyone knows, Canal Day is back on. It had been canceled for a while, but a window has opened, so Canal Day back on.
It's been refloated.
Yes, it's refloated. Yes.
Excellent. Good.
It's going to be super.
Right, now we're I've got no complaints so far from the folks in the studio. It's very much a food programme today, and there's a banquet waiting for us in about an hour's time. But Deborah mentioned Rosemary Shrager, as charming a lady as you could possibly want to meet.
Right, this morning I'm finding myself in Banbury Town Hall, and I'm slightly embarrassed because this is the first. I've lived in Banbury for 40 years. This is the first time I've been in the town hall. But sat opposite me, I'm delighted to say, is Chef Rosemary Shrager. Welcome to Banbury. I gather it's your first time here.
It certainly is.
We've given you a little souvenir to take back.
I know how exciting it is. Beautiful, lovely Banbury original
Banbury
cakes. Never had them. Looking forward to that.
Good, excellent. What I really want to ask you, because you're known as a great teacher, is teacher the right word?
Well, yes, I do teach, and this is my teaching is actually what I probably love most of all, is because I love showing people how to do things, because there is a massive generation of people not knowing how to cook. Now, the fascination that people have with watching shows, reading magazines and wanting to know more, it's almost like a sort of glossary in the fact that they like to look at the pictures aspirational, but actually coming to do it is quite difficult, because when we brought up, our mothers or grandparents used to show us how to cook and things like this, but there has been this lost generation that I'm all part of as well, where you actually didn't have time to show the children. I mean, because I was in the industry, I actually did, and I was lucky, but I probably wouldn't have had if I hadn't actually if I'd done something else. So I do feel that people are fascinated with how people do it, but some people will start doing knife work. Some people will start to actually learn how to cook from watching TV programs. But what I do feel is there is a huge generation who just can't do it.
Where do we go wrong? Because do they still do domestic? We used to call it domestic science in the old days. Do they still? Is domestic science still on the curriculum at schools? Do they still?
Definitely, yes, they do. There's a lot of theory going on, which I think is also important. But I think practical cooking is really what it's all about, because you learn as you go along. You learn how to work things as you do it, and the technical side also somehow works automatically. There's health and hygiene, obviously, which is very important. That's all part of the whole thing, curriculum. But in terms of cooking, I don't think it's still done enough. I really don't. But it is still there.
Why exactly? Why don't we? I mean, we've got shelves full of books. I've got several of yours.
Yeah, have you? I just don't know. I mean, the answer is, I think probably they thought there were more important things to do. But actually, I think learning to cook is incredibly important. But as I said, they do teach children how to cook. They do. They've got the simple things, how to do pizzas, lasagnas, and which is good. But it's whether it's actually encouraging them to keep going on. And sometimes, I know this sounds a bit crazy, but sometimes too much theory can put them off and actually put them down another avenue, saying, I can't be bothered with this, which is such a shame. I think there's a place for practical cooking, just practical cooking in learn, because it's all about life, it's about the future. And also it's about learning about seasonality, it's learning about how to prepare a vegetable, how to prepare whatever it is, just in preparation. And you somehow never forget that as a child. When you're taught, your teacher taught you how to do that, and you don't do it. And although I'm saying they do it, but they don't do it enough in my book.
Because some of the cookery programs now have taken it to the level that we will never do domestically. You look at Master Chef and and stuff like that. But in your new program, you've brought it sort of not back down to grassroots.
Yes. But what I'm hoping, one of the things in the new program, because I think cooking as a family is incredibly important.
Eating as a family.
Cooking and then eating, sharing. I think it's all about sharing. And I think that's when conversations happen as well. And also that's when people eat the food as well, because they know how it's progressed and how it's happened, the process of everything. And I think on every level it is important. And I think this new show, and this is not about advertising the show, but what I'm hoping is that people will see actually people cooking with a family. It's joyous, it's fun, it's funny. It's fascinating. I mean, the diversity, and also what I love about this program is the diversity of the food. The whole, I'm learning something. These are British people. They come from all over the world, but they're British. It's part of our British culture, and we need to learn more about this. And I am a culprit to not, because I've been brought up coincidentally British in inverted commas. Which is wrong, because we're not that. We're cosmopolitan now. It's about diversity, differences in life. But we're all British together, so we should learn. And I love that side of it. I love the side.
You're quite passionate about it.
I actually am very passionate about it, because, like it or not, we're here. We are a diverse society, and we need to stick with this diverse society and embrace it on every single level.
Do you look at the ingredients, not the ingredients that we can just buy now, but we're growing stuff that we would never have grown?
Well, we have these wonderful, availability from all over the world of growing all these different, as I say, vegetables and things. And in fact, the world is so small now. It's all about weather, to be honest with you. Whether you have a little micro garden, which is you can do a little sort of subtropical planting going on, or whether you're in an orchard in Kent, or wherever you are, you can find something diverse that you can do within that garden. And I just feel that we should be embracing it. So actually working with all these lovely people, and they are really wonderful contestants, I have learned so much.
You're still learning. You're not just teaching. You never do stop learning.
You never stop learning. The moment you start learning, you might as well give up. You don't know it all. Nobody knows it all. I'll be learning till the day I die, and that is what is exciting about cooking, about life. Now, if we go back to the question saying, you said to me about how people, you know, that their generation, that people don't cook so much today. The problem is they see cooking as aspirational. But I think what is happening today is, because it's now down to basic cookery rather than fine dining. Everybody was impressed fine dining would go there. But if people are going to learn to cook, it needs to be accessible.
Sure.
We need to be accessible, that people can do it at home, where people can feel, God, I can do that. That is great. I can really do that. And that's how we're going to encourage people to cook, is actually make it accessible, tasty, exciting, and make people want to do it when they go away. And that's the only way we'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, I popped into Tesco's yesterday, and it's a little bit sad because there's all this lovely produce, but the biggest aisles are the ready-prepared meals.
Yeah.
And that's. I interviewed another chef a year or two ago, and I asked him what was his favourite bit of equipment, and he said the table. And he said it's the most underused piece of equipment in any kitchen or house.
I would agree with that, because a lot of people eat off their knees in front of the telly. Now,
watching your programme.
now the problem is, the problem is, if people do that, then they're not engaging in conversation. No. But the wonderful thing about food is that food is a vehicle to bring people together.
Oh, very much so.
It is a place where you can engage in conversation, so you can find out what the children have done for the week, or what you've done for the week, or what exciting is happening in the next week. But you can just, it's all about relationships and building relationships, and you do that round a table. That's when you do it. You don't do it.
It's a common thing with all of the chefs.
You don't do it standing up. You don't doing something else. You concentrate on what's going on, and the only thing that can do that is the table.
One last question, because I know you've got to go and do some work, but what's Rosemary Shrager's favourite meal? I know it's a question you've probably been asked 100 times. What does Rosemary Shrager cook for herself?
Do you know? Now that's interesting. Now that's another question that people don't ever ask me.
Oh, good, I'm pleased about that.
No, because normally it's what's my favourite meal with the family.
What does Shrager? Yes, okay, we'll go back. What does Rosemary Shrager cook for herself?
Do you know what I love? I tell you, I love. Now wait for this. I love crispy bacon, fried up with a tin of baked beans into the crispy bacon, and then put into baked potato. And that's what I call pure comfort food.
That's interesting, because I will cook bacon in the frying pan. I don't let it go too crispy, but when it's nearly ready, I then tip the beans into the frying pan and cook that in the bacon juices.
That's what.
That's exactly what you do.
But you leave the bacon in.
Yeah.
Always leave the bacon in.
And then say, oh gosh, this. Oh. But going back to just to recap on my mother's from French North Africa. She came over at the end of the war with my dad. Okay. She learned to cook from her mother. And again, I know it's a cliche, and it's always been told thousands of times. When I was a little boy, I was being sent up to Boots to buy the olive oil in because that's the only place you could buy it. And I learned to cook. I'm a reasonable cook.
Yes.
And I learned from watching my mother.
Oh, that's interesting. But when I say to you, do you love cooking?
Oh, very much so.
Well, you see, that's the key as well. Yeah. Because I think you've got to enjoy doing it, because there are a lot of people, and why should they? They don't enjoy doing it.
But I don't. One of the things, if you, I mean, I did a really nice meal last night, but once I've cooked the meal, I actually then struggle to eat it. I get the pleasure of cooking it. I get the pleasure of putting it in front of my wife or my family or my friends. But then, I'd rather sit and watch them. Mind you, I'm picking all the time.
But you see, that's a giver. Cooks are givers.
Yeah.
You will find the cooks who really are passionate about cooking is they want to share it with everyone, and that's totally normal. What you do is normal.
Oh, excellent.
So that's not normal. But you know what? I'd start enjoying the food if I was you. I think if you enjoy it as much as they enjoy it.
I'm really pleased I found anybody else that's... for years, I wait till nobody's looking. I thought it was a bit of a philistine.
No, that's normal. Good. No, very normal.
Okay. Rosemary, I'm very grateful for your time. I know it's a busy day. Are you going to have a chance to wander around after?
I certainly am. This is, the one thing I love.
It's terrific. I've been to, as you probably have, quite a few food festivals. Yeah. This is terrific.
Well, I love food festivals because this is an opportunity where you can get to meet local people, but also find some really great produce, and also that you could use. I mean, I found some wonderful stuff there going around the festivals and doing things. It is fabulous. So you always sort of find something that could be useful You know, I've got a wonderful product which I love is sunflower.
Oh yes,
which
which
is actually which is delicious. So, but this is really special stuff. And then we've got the. I love the Yachty vinegar.
Oh yes, yeah.
I love Yachty vinegars. I mean, you know, really, really delicious again. All sorts of things.
Great stuff. I've been.
And I think, all those sort of things. I think it's really. It's pumpkin oil. Sorry, I said sunflower. Yeah. Pumpkin oil. It is the most delicious thing you could ever have. Pumpkin oil. Oh my God.
Go and say hello to Paul Barlow Heel on Cotswold Baking. His cakes are terrific.
Okay.
And then there are two ladies. I think she's Rosemary. The Supper Circle. They've opened a little pop-up restaurant.
Okay.
And but there's just so much out there to see.
Well, that's it. So I'm going to go.
Nobody's selling Banbury cakes. I can't believe it.
Oh well, that's a shame. So you got this locally from?
I buy them. Well, they're made in Shipping Norton, but I live in a little village just north of Cropredy, and they sell them in the village shop to all the people on the canal boat.
So special. Well, I shall embrace it. I might even try and make them myself.
No, well, so they're not. Well, if you can't make them, there's no hope for any of us. Rosemary, exactly. I'm very grateful. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
Well, that was our interview with Rosemary Shrager at the Banbury Food Fair, and I tell you what, I was absolutely petrified of her, but looking back and listening to that, I think we did quite well. Now, we're going travelling again, or I'm going travelling. I'm leaving the foodies here in the studio just for a few minutes, and this is a travel show, so we want to touch on it. With the one of the big new films that came out earlier in the year, I think it was released on July 21st, Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk film. And I was lucky enough to be invited across to Dunkirk for 2 or 3 days on a press trip. And I've been to Dunkirk loads of times, but I've always just got off the ferry and headed south and got out of the city as quick as I could. It's not, I don't want to sound ungrateful, it's not an attractive city. It's France's third largest port. It's a big petrochemical port. But when you go into the old town, not that there's much left of it, of course, because with what happened in 1940, Dunkirk took a bit of a hammering. But on the back of the film, and I don't know if you can call them attractions. Do you open attractions on the back of war? I don't know. But terrific new museums. I didn't know. I learned when I was there that Dunkirk was called Operation Dynamo. So there's the Operation Dynamo museum, there's the Operation Dynamo restaurant, there's the Operation Dynamo cafe, souvenir shops, everywhere you go. But one of the things that all of us writers share is, whether we're travel writers, novelists, food writers, is a bit of imagination. And to stand on the beaches at Dunkirk, you don't need too much of imagination to imagine or to try and place what happened. And there are a couple of aspects that make you realise how horrendous war is. There are a few things that both sides did that probably left best unsaid by me, but if you're over there, you go and have a look. The highlight for me, believe it or not, was a Michelin-starred meal on a boat called the Princess Elizabeth, which was one of the little ships, and it's a paddle steamer, and it's now moored up in the central basin in Dunkirk, and the menu has been designed by a local Michelin-starred chef from a couple of villages down the road. I was there the day after it opened, so a few teething problems, but still very good. So if you're in Dunkirk, certainly that's well worth looking at. Go and look at the beaches, go and look at the museum. It's not a place you're going to go for a fortnight's holiday. It's accessible from Banbury, a couple of hours, 2.5 hours down to Dover, DFDS ferry right into the middle of Dunkirk, and stay, I can't remember the name of the hotel I stayed in. Golly gosh, Hotel Noble, and I'm told it was the hotel that the cast stayed in when the film was made, and I'm assured that I had the same bedroom as Harry Styles of One Direction, but then everybody else in the party was told the same thing. Now, let's just move on, but sticking with food, I mentioned Michelin-starred food. I was completely spoiled towards the end of July. I had a rather special birthday, and my daughter, who lives in Switzerland, came over, and we started on the Friday. We went down to London and had lunch in the Gavroche, Michel Roux restaurant, Michel Roux Jr.'s restaurant, in, I think it's Upper Brook Street, just off by the American Embassy there. One of the best value meals I've ever had. £67.50 for the set lunch. which included half a bottle of wine, a bottle of water, a glass of champagne beforehand, coffee with fondants, and the food was okayish. It wasn't as outstanding as I thought it would, and very, very clever, because £67.50 and the 3 main courses were chicken, salmon or liver, so not particularly expensive ingredients, but well cooked, fabulous flavours, great staff, no pretentiousness about the staff at all, but a little bit like going back in time. It's a very dark room, it's a cellar, it's all dark wood panelled, but a great experience. The following day, the 3 of us went down to Le Manoir, Raymond Blanc's restaurant, and different league altogether. Everything about it absolutely outstanding. The canapes that came with the champagne, the food went down the a la carte route, so you're paying £48 for a starter, £58 for a main course, and £32 for 4 little bits of cheese. And also an excellent bottle of wine. One of the guests we've got later in the show will tell you about wine, but it was a bottle of poulet fumé, which was about £80. It was just a tad too warm for 2 members of the party, and they asked the sommelier if they could have a lump of ice in their wine. I don't know what Patrick's view of ice in wine is, but the sommelier gave them a lump of ice, and then he looked at me and he said, "And sir, would you like to ruin your wine?" So now, £67.50 at the Gavroche, superb value. £650 at the Manoir for 3 of you. To be quite honest, superb value, because you're only ever going to do it once. Yeah, you're only ever going to do it once. So what else have we got to talk? There's one other thing we've got to talk about, is on the, where's this press release? 24th of September to the 1st of October at the Kitchen at Farnborough, and the Kitchen at Farnborough have been great supporters of Jones on Food and Travel over the last year or so. It's British Roast Dinner Week, and it's a very comprehensive press release that they've sent me, which is difficult to read because I ran out of ink as I was printing it off. But and they've come up with some is it alliterations? Where is it? Glorious gravy, sensational stuffing, veritable vegetables, wonderful wine, family. Yes, so and they get their meat from Aubrey Allen. Aubrey Allen is he's the Queen's butcher. He's by what is it? They give them a warrant, isn't it? He's by warrant to the Queen. But again, British Roast Dinner Week at the Kitchen, 24th of September to the 1st of October. And
I should be on a ship.
And Dan Peacock, the head chef there, has come up with some great ideas. Emily Griffiths, the manager, has got some great ideas for what wines to go with whichever roast you choose. And overseeing it all and make sure the ship runs smoothly, Joe and Anthony Robinson. Right, let's move on. We're going to listen to another recording now, and this is very dangerous because I actually did get their name right in the end, but I'm going to say it slowly.
Have you lost?
Yeah, no, I found it. Yeah, I went down into the Savernake forest and met up with a couple of guys who have a business called the Savernake Knife Company. Do you know, you don't realise how hard that was to get that out. And this is the interview that I recorded with them, and two great guys. Right. This morning I've tiptoed way out of my normal area, and I'm down in Wiltshire, just outside of Marlborough, with Laurie Timpson and Philip Shaw of Savernake Knives. Gentlemen, good morning and welcome to Puritans Radio.
Good morning.
Good morning, Peter.
Savernake Knives. Give me a brief potted history.
We both worked abroad for quite a long period of time, and we're also quite big fans of changing our career direction about every 5 years. So I was in the army for about 5 years. Then I worked mostly in Africa, but in Cambodia and Afghanistan, removing landmines for a charity for about 5 years. Then I did some commercial activity in Africa, looking for gold and running power stations for, surprisingly enough, about 5 years. And then I moved back to the UK, and I looked around at what was on offer and had a few dealings with corporate HR departments and decided that wasn't for me. So I was working on a program which would use the visual display of quantitative information for restaurants, as you do, and decided that's fine, but I need to get out from the computer. So I rented a little room here and started forging knives. And over the course of the last 2 years, it's gone from being a small hobby to being a business. And Philip joined me about a year ago.
And your history, Philip, briefly?
So I was, like Laurie, I was working in Pakistan for 5 years. Well, Pakistan 3 years and South Sudan for 2 years, running operations for a company called Adam Swift International. And previous to that, I was involved in the safari world in Kenya. And then previous to that, I set up 2 pubs in London. So a different career as well.
I feel very inadequate, you know. I've never worked any further than 10 miles away from where I was born, apart from a year in Paris. And what I liked, no pun intended, but the handle that you're using with your knives is you're using Formula 1 technology.
Yes.
How different the traditional way of making a knife is how?
Well, the very traditional method would be using an anvil and a hammer and your forge and heating up the metal and bashing into shape that way. So that obviously got overtaken sometime in the Industrial Revolution by using larger scale methods where things are now sort of stamped into shape or ground into shape. And really, not a huge amount has moved forward beyond that. I mean, most mass manufacturers either stamp it, forge it, bash it into shape, or they grind it with large concrete wheels. Or you have the smaller artisanal manufacturers who are generally hammering them into shape, which is a hugely skillful activity, and then hand finishing them. And then there's us, who do it rather differently, with the Formula 1 technology. So we design all of our blades on a computer. They're made by the same machine as makes Formula 1 parts.
Which, purely by coincidence, is made by Haas, whose Formula 1 base is up in Banbury, where we're broadcasting from. Yes, you would hope that their Formula 1 team would do rather better since they make the parts, but there we are. So we use that. It is accurate to a micron, so a thousandth of a millimetre, but we really go down to about 100 or 10th of a millimetre accuracy because they're hand finished. So the blades are made from that. They're made from a steel made by Sandvik. It's probably the finest European knife steel. And then we heat treat it ourselves, and we use cryogenic freezing and nitrogen in our furnace and all these things. And the end result for that, really, for the metal part of the blade, is it's pretty much as good as you can make it. Really. Slightly some distance away from the guy with the anvil. Explain to me, you did telling me before we started chatting about the quality of the steel, the particular steel you're using.
Yeah, so it's, I suppose, mostly the composition of the steel, and little tiny changes to the amount of molybdenum or the amount of chrome or the amount of carbon will make a huge difference to the steel, and it very much depends on the application. You wouldn't use construction steel for knives and vice versa. You could do, it'd be a very expensive skyscraper. So there's that, and then there's really also the consistency with which it's made, so that even distribution of the components throughout the steel, has it been looked after, and on top of all that then is this record, so that your material is verifiable. So that is what leads to being a very good steel, and because it has all those activities that take place, it becomes more expensive. But it allows for us to consistently make very good blades, because this is sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Monogamous? No, it's not the right word, it's marriage, isn't it? It's a uniform piece of steel throughout the whole blade. You don't get any differences in hardness or brittleness, which is hugely important, particularly when it comes down to the cutting edge. And when you're getting down to that molecular level, you're going to have a completely even, consistent cutting edge all the way along the blade. And really the easiest way we can figure that out is if you take a cheaper blade and you sharpen it towards the end of the sharpening process on a very fine stone, you will hear differences in pitch and sound as you encounter the different sort of variations of the quality of the steel. Whereas if you have a very good quality steel, you get a really nice, even, consistent, very, very fine, gentle sound as you come towards the end of your cutting. And that will last for longer, it will harden better, it will cut better.
And the basic design of the knife, is that one of you two starting life on a computer with it, drawing the knife, or
coming up with the base. I don't want to be rude, but a knife, the basic shape of a knife has probably not changed since knives were invented. But you've got
No, it hasn't. No, we.
It's amazing how you can start. Different ideas and design.
We started off just trying to figure out how to make something of a knife shape, not really making it. Is that a very good shape knife? Then we started making them for our sort of wives and mothers and girlfriends, and they wanted a very particular type of knife, basically quite small with a thin handle. So we did that for a while, and then we realised that that's quite niche, unless we want to sell to our wives and mothers and girlfriends. And so we then started looking at making more sort of widely recognised knives. So we really went back to the handle shape and went through that and refined our blade geometry just through endlessly making more knives, trying them in our kitchens, giving them to people. We worked with, I think, a dozen Michelin-starred chefs over the course of the last 6 months, making knives for them, learning from them what they want, what aspects of knives is important. Because we're not chefs, we're not.
So the end user is the guy, he's using it, this is what I want to do with it, and you design it for him.
Yes.
It's being able to pick up a knife and know that they can work in the kitchen as they do for hours on end and have a handle that's appropriate to what they're using the knife for.
Is that the market that you're principally aiming at, the chef market, or are you looking at the domestic market as well? Because your knives aren't at, they're not the most expensive, but equally they're not the cheapest, are they? So.
No, which was exactly where we want to be. We're sort of in the middle between everybody. We're not constrained to producing 1 or 2 knives a day, as artisanal people might be, and we're not trying to produce 100. So no, I think we're trying to aim for both. I think that we are one of the few artisanal makers who make knives of sufficient quality that a chef would use them for 10 hours a day in their kitchen. On the handle front, for example, we don't really have highly polished, varnished woods, because they might feel very nice to hold for 2 minutes, but if you're in a kitchen for 10 hours, you want something a bit more grippy. So we really spend a lot of time looking at that. We make much heavier knives generally for chefs. They want a large handle and they want a large blade, which does a lot of the work for them and requires less grip, so it's less tiring. Whereas again, someone's using a knife for 10 minutes a day wants an entirely different experience. They quite often want a more nimble blade with a nicer, smaller handle. So because we make all our knives individually, having a small variation between handle size between one knife and another knife is very easy for us to achieve. Once we've got it, it sits in the computer. All our knives pretty much exclusively are made to order, so people can say I like that, and they can mix and they can match, and by that way they have a very unique knife based on a set number of models from our perspective.
We have one of the major catering colleges in Banbury. In fact, it's where Gordon Ramsay did his training. He comes back every year and presents the prizes. But anybody going on one of their, or signing up, I think it's a 2-year course, the first month it's knife skills. Before they even start cooking, they're taught how to use knives. And then when you watch these professional chefs, I'd lose my fingers.
But it's coming back to something you said before we started about everybody has lots of knives and they end up on 1 or 2 favourites. And that's sort of that's our main fascination, is what we between the two of us call the 90% knife. So 90% of the people use it for 90% of their tasks. And again, the thing about the catering skill and the knife skills is, you are taught how to use all these knives and practice using them. So new guys turn up to the restaurants quite often, they have a huge roll of knives, and someone says to them, right, can you cut up this carrot? They go, okay, hang on a second, and they open up their different flaps and they find their carrot knife, and they do that, and then they have another knife for onions, and this goes on, and they're incredibly slow, and within 6 months they're down to 1 knife. And that one knife is very different. I mean, we have yet to find a chef who likes the same knife as another chef does. But the one knife they use is what fascinates us, and it's the one knife that people use in their kitchen as well. If you can find that model...
We're searching, there's the Holy Grail and the ultimate knife.
It's the Holy Grail. We reckon there's probably, 6 different sort of archetypes of knife which people use in their kitchen. And it's not so much the design, but just the size and weight of it. And some people just like using the small knife. I mean, a professional chef watching my mother cook, when she takes a whole pumpkin to bits with a knife, which is a 1-inch blade, would be horrified. But my mum would be horrified at any knife longer than that. So it's just very much horses for courses of what you're used to.
One of the things we haven't spoken about before we started chatting on this is that we've all got different size hands. So is that an integral part of when a chef comes? Do we find the handle to fit his size of his hand, or is that just something that just evolves? Or?
I think we first started thinking, we've got to get the mould of a hand, but actually it's getting. We've just had a knife come back the other day, which the handle was slightly too small, but it's getting the right sort of. There's this length of the handle itself. I don't think you necessarily have to mould it to a chef's hand, but you just need to get the right form, the right size. If it's going to be a fish filleting knife, you want something that you can easily manipulate around. So it's like a pencil, more of a pencil in its sort of a pencil. Sort of, what I'm trying to say. You don't to have a sort of a classic shaped knife for a filleting knife. You want something which is more rounded. But that has come back through trial now, because from designing a prototype, we've put the knife into the chef's hands and they've come back and said, actually, I just need to just tweak a little bit on the side here and there. So what you can, I think the initial form of the handle is what is easy to get, but there will always be an element of tweaking it.
It was interesting what Laurie just said though about the big roll of knives. So I hadn't looked at it like, because you see these chefs turn up with their big roll of knives, but at the end of the day we are just using our one favourite. Is there a multi-purpose knife that'll do 90% of everything, or?
I think so, yes. It just depends what knife that is that you want to use. I made a knife for myself, which has got a very short, stubby, wide, thick handle and an extremely long and thin blade, and no one else likes it. I love it, and I couldn't. Now I've had it for 2 years. I really wouldn't want to cook with anything else. So it is very individual. We're making a knife for a chap at the moment. He's just colossal fella. And his handle is the biggest handle we've ever made, and he's got colossal knuckle clearance. Yeah. And I can't even begin to deal with that knife, but he wouldn't have it any smaller. So it is a very individual thing.
And I noticed with all the knives that you've got there that there's only one that is the sort of cleaver type blade, but you see a lot of the chefs on these television programs using those sort of big square cleaver type things for everything. Rather, is demand for those, or is there a fad in the world of knives? Do we have? This is the latest thing. We'll use this, but then we'll go back to tradition.
I think that the current. I don't know. You could argue reasonably cogently that Japanese knives are sort of a long burning fad. I think the fad at the moment really is we discussed previously for customization and the ability to have your own handle on it and your own engraving on it. I think those big, large square knives are really coming from the Oriental cookery. That particular one you're looking at is actually again made for myself. It's a lobster cleaver. So my mother lives up in Scotland, and we eat out lobsters. And that you can bash up the lobster. There's also ground some sharps. You can use it to cut up all your chives and make your mayonnaise. And it's one knife instead of 3 knives. So I designed it for that. There's yet to be a huge
lobster. I like that a lobster knife. That's brilliant. That's the first one. And the future. Where does the future take us?
I think just sort of hopefully a steady growth of where we are now. And we say to ourselves, what in a year's time what would make us happy? In a year's time, what would we be doing that would make us happy? And I think it would be having a steady stream of professional chefs or enthusiastic, knowledgeable amateurs who are making bespoke knives for. And people who really love their rifles will go to Austria to have Mannlicher make them a rifle. People who love their shotguns will go to Boss or Purley or Holland and so on and so forth. And if we could start to become that person for professionals and people who are sort of connoisseurs of knives to have their individual knife made, that would be fantastic, hugely satisfying. And on the other hand, we would like to be, ones which are sitting in kitchens around the country. We think we make very attractive knives which will last a long time. So if we had a nice steady demand for that, people receiving them as presents and were surprised and pleased and delighted at those presents. And I think 75% of our knives are given as presents at the moment.
Yeah.
I think if I gave my wife a knife, she'd throw it out.
Well, yes, there is that. We can supply them blunt, basically. That would avoid that particular problem.
And how are we going out? Are you putting a suit on every so often and going out and knocking on doors, or a chef's whites?
No, we spend most of our time here in Wiltshire, but as we say, we just raised our head above the parapet, and we want to get out and start speaking to as many chefs and people who cook, and we've got to spend a lot of time.
You're not doing any trade shows or anything like that?
We are doing some trade shows. We're just booked to go down to River Cottage in August.
Oh yes, yeah.
Which they have their summer festival. Mm-hmm. So we're going to be down there for a weekend, which is the end of August, and then locally to here is we've got the Royal Berkshire Show. Yeah. So that will be our first appearance there, which is middle of September. Mm-hmm. So we're just starting to be able to get ourselves out to do some of the shows, but at the same time, we've been really focusing on growing ourselves locally, and that's been working with a number of pubs and chefs around here, and that's then now starting to spread out, and we're now dealing with some great restaurants in London, and it's just organically growing.
Obviously not asking for any names, but you said you've already got several Michelin star chefs using your knives.
We do, and they were part of our sort of development process when we realised that we needed to go and talk to people who actually know knives. We know how to make them, they know how to use them, so that was extremely useful for us.
And presumably there's word of mouth amongst the chef community.
They're extremely, they watch each other like hawks. I mean, I'm not going to particularly aggressive, but they're on their Twitter and their Instagram, they're all watching each other. So once you can get in there and you establish a reasonable reputation, it sort of self-generates to a degree. And what again is fascinating for us is that what we as civilians would consider to be high-profile chefs are not necessarily, or they probably aren't, what proper chefs would consider to be high-profile chefs. So if we were to be able to get a tweet from a television chef, that would drive our domestic sales. But who trying to find who is the chef who the other chefs are in awe of, and
probably never even heard of it.
But we know. So now we're figuring that out, and then that's the first thing. Once you figure them out, is how do you track them down?
Yeah, I've interviewed quite a few celebrity chefs over the last 2 or 3 years, and once you get to be a celebrity chef, one of the things you stop doing is cooking. Yeah, you're too busy writing your latest book or doing your latest television program. There are one or two that I think Raymond Blanc still does 50% of his time in the kitchen. Yeah. But there are most of them these days.
Yeah.
Okay, now if anybody wants to find out more about Savernake wines, Savernake Knives, I'll edit that. Your website is
www.savernakeknives.co.uk.
Am I mispronouncing it as well? Then it's Savernake.
Savernake Knives.
So it's a silent E.
Okay. It's a silent E, yeah.
Savernake Knives. Yeah. Because you've got a great little sort of video, and 2.5-minute video.
We have. I always push anyone to go and have a quick look. It takes 2.5 minutes, and
it's on the process page.
It's on the process page of the website, and it's just a great way just to get an understanding of what we are all about in terms of process and manufacturing.
We have been now for what seems like a very long time working on our new website, and we do hope we're now at the end of June, probably the first week or second week of July, that will be up and running, and that will offer the customization ability online. At the moment, you have to get in touch with us directly, which is lovely, but this will hopefully make life a bit easier, and it's just generally a better site. But the one at the moment we're very happy with. It's got good images and the process built.
Okay, so www.savernakeknives.co.uk.
That's correct.
Perfect. Gentlemen, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, Peter.
Yeah, it was Philip Shaw and Laurie Timpson of Savernake Knives. So we had them on a couple of shows back, but since they were last on Puritans Radio, they're doing really well. Some big name chefs have started buying their knives. Now I'm going to welcome back to Puritans Radio Patrick Loomer, who's come all the way up from London to talk to us, and he's got the most fantastic title. He's a wine hero, working for sort of Marks and Spencer's, and he's a long-term colleague and friend of Deborah's. Yes. And I'm just going to shut up, and Deborah and Patrick are going to talk.
Yes, we're going to talk all things wine. Although technically Patrick is going to talk all things wine, I'm going to ask sort of Rube-like questions about wine, because basically, all I really know is, red, white. That's it.
What's wrong with blue?
But it's all apparently much more complicated than I thought. We were going to discuss Christmas cases of wine, well in advance of the holidays. And we're going to talk about that. There were other questions I came up with during the week because as soon as I realized Patrick was coming, suddenly wine was jumping out at me from the news and all these things. So, but first, well in advance of the holidays.
Absolutely. Okay.
Christmas cases.
Yeah, Christmas cases are...
I assume they come at different price points and stuff like that.
They do. I mean, it's sort of the wine equivalent of any kind of gift hamper. And different retailers will have... And some of them will have a wine and other goodies combination as well.
Right.
Pairings.
Yeah.
Christmas cases, they're a lovely idea. I think you have to shop for them quite carefully. And what I would say about them is that if you're going to give that as a gift to somebody, that probably means that the person you're buying for knows quite a bit about wine and has already
You wouldn't buy
opinions.
6 or 12 bottles of wine for someone unless you knew that was a thing for them.
Exactly. So I would say that your best bet is, instead of buying a pre-curated case, is to have sneaky conversations with that person, around wines and what wines they do like and what wines they don't, because people who will get into wine, who get into it seriously, tend to have opinions with a capital O about it. And there are wines that they like and there are wines that they don't like and wines that they feel should be wiped from the face of the earth. And so if you get it wrong, you can get it catastrophically wrong.
Right, so sneakily try to find out what their preferences are. Exactly.
You might find that somebody loves Bordeaux and hates Burgundies. And so before you go shopping and thinking, ooh, Burgundy.
Like if you were going to buy a Christmas case and give it to me, you would go, oh, but Deborah sees no point in dessert wine.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Then you'd have tried to school me about that.
You don't yet.
So, I mean, so they come pre-curated, but you can also, there are places that you can say, I'd like, I want all whites or all reds, or can we pick and choose? I want,
a mix.
One from each country I can think of, kind of thing.
Yeah, you can do it that way. You can do wines from unusual places. There are a lot more countries in the world that produce wines other than France, Italy, Spain, Chile, Argentina, the United States.
Right.
South Africa and Australia and New Zealand. There are, the Greeks. Greek reds are coming back. Across the Eastern European, Eastern Mediterranean, they've been making wines for thousands of years.
Yeah. They just hadn't had access to the markets and stuff.
Exactly. Right. And now they're really getting more of an access to the market, and they're making some lovely, lovely wine. So a great Christmas gift idea for somebody who's into wine is to give them those, so that there'll be something that they maybe haven't tried.
They haven't formed an opinion of yet.
Exactly. But it's a new experience for them.
Oh, okay. So
it's not, you're not necessarily going to be making the faux pas of getting somebody.
So you can't customize the mixed case for who you're giving it to.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I would do. And also speak to your wine hero at your local store. If you're going to a place that purveys wine, they should hopefully have
someone on staff who knows the wine.
Who knows what they're doing, and they can guide you through it.
It's not like a ready meal where everybody, this is a microwave thing.
Yeah.
Wine is one of those things that you probably need a little bit of knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
why I wouldn't buy wine without you.
Oh, well, there you go. That said, there are some good wine cases out there, and there are. Wine has fashion, so different wines are in at different years. Currently, Malbecs are super hip, and the Marlborough Sauvignon Blancs from New Zealand are super hip.
Right.
And there will be wine cases of wine gifts or wine gift cases built around that kind of stuff, and that's cool too, because that there are nice ideas, but I would say shop very carefully. Yeah. And because people tend to have personal opinions about wine, it's a nice idea to make that little bit of effort to
make it about them.
Yeah, to make it precisely about them.
I now know what I need to do if I'm prompted to buy a case of wine.
Yeah, you do have to,
But you actually are the person I know who is most into wine and most knowledgeable, and I'd have to pick your brain, and you'd know why I was doing it. So,
you can do things like if you go out for a drink or go out for a meal together, pay attention to the wine that they're ordering.
That's true.
That's true.
Okay, so Christmas cases, but here's what I really want to talk to you about, because you blew my mind during the week. I asked a simple question, what I thought was a simple question. I said, isn't Cava and Prosecco the same thing?
No.
And you came back, gave me the difference between Cava, Prosecco, Champagne, all the sparkling wines, and then really, really blew me away, because I thought all the Champagne I'd ever seen, all the Prosecco I'd ever seen, all the Cava I'd ever seen was white.
No.
And you said, no, there are red sparkling wines.
There are red sparkling wines.
So what is the difference, quickly, between Cava, Prosecco, and Champagne?
Cava, Prosecco, Champagne comes from Champagne.
Well, yes.
Yes.
That's a geographic
It's the
thing.
most expensive. It is. It's from a protected geographical area. Very, very strict rules about how it's made, and which grapes you can use. And because supply is small and the method of making it is very labor-intensive and expensive, it's the most expensive of the lot.
Right.
Cava is actually the same thing as Champagne in terms of process, but Cava can be made anywhere in Spain.
Right.
And
But if it's Cava, it's come from Spain.
It's Spain.
It's not
It's Spain.
It's
It's Spanish.
not what is it they call it? DOC?
No.
Sorry, can I just interrupt? Can I just ask a question? We've had a question from a listener.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh my.
No pressure.
Alexa in South Warwickshire,
Okay.
who has a thing about bubbles.
Mm-hmm.
Which bubbles would you recommend?
I would suit the bubbles to the party. If you're throwing a sort of a big party, go for Prosecco. Prosecco, I personally prefer Prosecco to Cava. They're both in the same price range.
Yeah.
Unless you've got a much bigger budget, Champagne is kind of out.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to really get a Champagne below 15 quid.
Okay,
Okay, that's good.
So there you are, Alexa. Thanks for the question,
you.
and I hope you're happy in your bath of Prosecco.
There you go.
Back to you.
Okay, so Cava is the same process as Champagne, just from Spain in a sort
And
of,
it's a different grape.
And it's a different grape.
Yeah.
Now, so does that mean Prosecco is a different process?
Yes. It's all about fermentation. So Cava and... so what happens with sparkling wine is that first you have to make a still white wine.
Right.
And that's your initial fermentation. And then it's the secondary fermentation that causes your sparkles.
Right.
And with Champagne and Cava, that occurs in a bottle.
Right.
With Prosecco, it occurs in a tank.
Okay.
So there's massive difference in cost. And
Right.
And with you have to shake the bottles and you have to tease the yeast.
Oh yeah,
I've
seen the footage of the guys whose job literally is to spend turning the bottles, turning the bottles.
Yeah, exactly. So which is a huge indicator of cost.
Right. Okay.
So Prosecco, and again, it's a different grape. It's a grape that is.
And so
the
because
Glera grape.
it's the second fermentation that brings the bubbles.
Yeah.
You can do that to a white or a red.
You can. It's a matter. It's a matter of taste. In the United States, there's a red wine called Cold Duck, which is a sparkling red in the manner of a Champagne or a Cava or a Prosecco.
I've never come across a sparkling red.
It's not really that much of a thing in Europe, except in Italy. There's sparkling Lambrusco. Now, Lambrusco is it's an umbrella name, but red Lambrusco from the Emilia-Romagna region. Is a wonderful, wonderful drink. And that's actually coming back into fashion at the moment. A lot of people like myself made shocking life decisions on the basis of having drunk too much sparkling Lambrusco at the age of about 15 or 16.
Is that how you ended up at university with me?
Yes. That may have had something to do with it. Yeah, it's got, I think, for outside of Italy, it's slightly got that cultural tinge to it that,
Right.
it was a very bad idea. But now it's come back, and it's a delicious, delicious wine.
Oh, all right.
And again, all sparkling wines certainly are best served by being at least lightly chilled.
Yes.
But this just goes to show that you can also lightly chill a red. There are quite a few red wines that
This
actually...
I did know.
Yeah.
This I did know. Excellent.
Yeah.
And there are two stories I saw in the news, just very quickly, since we're going to segue into the news. Two stories. You can now buy a red wine slushie at Disney World. If I had to go to Disney World, I would need booze. It is called the Strawberry Shiraz Slushie.
Okay.
Fantastic. I hope it comes with a straw. And I was happy, and a bucket, and I was happy to see the return of boxed wine.
Yes.
But without the box. Now it's just a bag.
Well, yes.
Which it was always a bag.
It was
just
always
the
a
box
bag in a
protected
box.
the bag.
Yeah. And some are still doing it in the box.
But is it higher quality wine in the bag now? Is that why it's coming back?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So what they're finding is wine producers don't like change. About 15, 20 years ago, we had the big kerfuffle over screw tops and wax, and that they couldn't possibly be as good as the old cork. Actually, they're a far more efficient way of storing wine than with a cork. You don't have to keep the bottle on its side to keep the cork wet. But for the look of the thing, there's nothing really romantic about unscrewing a bottle of wine.
And a bag would keep it just as well.
Yeah, and even better than a glass bottle, because glass bottles are subject to light. And that can impair wine, and that can heat up. I mean, sunlight can heat up the glass, so that, again, that can impair the wine.
Okay, right.
And on that note,
we're going
to the news.
Now, Peter Jones on Puritans Radio. Your station, your team, your community.
Yes, you're back with me, Peter Jones, coming to you live from the Banbury Plant Hire Community Stadium, the home of the wonderful Banbury United. We can say that because they're having a terrific season so far, unbeaten in the league and on the road to Wembley after a 4-2 win on Saturday. And as we said earlier on, but we're going to tell you again, they're at home on Saturday, 2:30 down here to Frome Town, who come up from Somerset, home of Jenson Button. And listen to it live on Puritans Radio, or come down and watch the match down here. And talking of Puritans Radio, there's a great lineup. There's three more live shows today at 3 o'clock till 5 o'clock. We've got Ian Fleming, our very own 007, playing his usual. I think mishmash is a bit rude, isn't it? So we'll call his usual great mix of music. Matt's Matt, I can't even say it. No wonder I couldn't get the Savernake Wine Company right. Matt's Mixed Bag is at 6 till 7, and that's followed immediately by Sports World. Anyway, we're going to move on to the exciting part of the show now, the food tasting. There's a smell in the studio of what two of us will call basil. I don't know what the other two will call it. What do you call it? Basil?
I have been here a long time, so basil.
Basil, very good.
Basil.
Oh, excellent.
Basil.
But before we get on to the tasting, I want to welcome. We usually like to have three people tasting the food, quite a widespread. But one of our tasters has moved up to Morecambe and is now living on a diet of potted shrimps. And she, by the way, Deborah, she started sky jumping again.
I know, I saw that.
Yeah, she started diving again.
That.
Yeah, and Captain Brown is having his legs fixed. So I'm really pleased to welcome from Claydon Emma Ives, who handled a reply to was it an SOS on the Facebook page?
It was a bit like that, yeah.
Yes, I think I was sitting in the. We have a sort of summer house in the garden, and I was sitting there flicking through Facebook on Saturday, and saw your plea there, and I thought, why not? Sounds interesting.
Okay, so we're indebted to one company in particular, which is Monkhouse Food and Drink, who are a PR company who handle the account of about 40 or 50 different small producers of various products, some of which we've heard of, some of which we haven't, and maybe even one or two that we won't want to again, but I'm not allowed to say that. And so we're very grateful to Cheryl and Becky at Monkhouse Foods for supplying us with the samples. And we've got a fair old mix. We've got 4 different products and some savoury and some sweet. So I think we're going to start off with the first one, which is a company called Tiggs, who make
now, do we want we need the crackers for this, yes.
Tiggs make award-winning all-natural dressings and sauces, but you can buy them in various sizes, but they've sent us some miniature sizes, so I don't know which one you're going to start with.
Why don't we start with the one closest, the sort of red...
Smoking tomato.
Oh, excellent.
Smoking tomato from Tiggs. All right.
It says here that I'm smoky, spicy, and go with all foods nicely. Add me to legs, rumps or stir-fries, and await a tiggly surprise.
Yeah.
Pardon my reach.
There's a lot of paprika going on in there. Nice.
Is this a chili pepper, red pepper, or...?
You know what?
It's very paprika.
That's a
pimenton, actually.
It's just like chorizo without the without the meat, isn't it?
It's a really
Very
it's like a smoky South Carolina barbecue sauce. But
I'm
there is that
very Spanish.
Yeah.
But
That's really good. I would eat that with pretty much anything. In fact, I'm going to continue
some pork in that and then barbecue the pork.
Are you happy with that, Emma? Or?
Yeah, no, I think it's delicious. Sorry, I'm just having some more.
But yeah, if paprika isn't your thing, this isn't going to be your thing. But
yeah,
it's a very, very sort of smoky paprika heavy sauce.
It's like a slow heat that comes with it too.
Yeah,
it's not hot, but it's
2 thumbs up from me.
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
Really good.
Okay, and what colour are we going to next?
This is basil and pea.
Can I just make a suggestion? I'd go for the pepper. It tells me here that the basil and pea is cool and refreshing, so it might be a good idea to have the pepper and mustard one out of the way next.
This yellow one.
Yellow one.
This is I'm naturally sweet and understated. Would like to accompany food on picnics in the park, or cuddle up to a burger by a barbecue.
I think the whole idea of these new size packages is exactly that. You know, either for picnics or barbecues.
Because they do come out in that squeezy tube.
Indeed, yeah.
Ooh, Oh, that's really nice. Yeah, peppery honey mustard kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know what? I would put that on a turkey sandwich. Turkey brie and honey mustard. That's what I would do.
Do you know what I think is so exciting about these is that, you know, if you're wanting to eat salad at work, and you go out and buy a salad and you put it in the fridge, you know, you can just take one of these little things with you and actually give it some real...
Yeah, because a lot of those prepackaged salad dressings are really bland.
They're very bland.
I mean, I know they're going for the lowest common denominator thing, but no taste to them at all.
Before you move on to the next one, I'll just read a little bit from the blurb they sent me. It's two Headshire farming brothers, Jacob and Sam James. They're behind all these sauces, and coming up with, as they call it, the Cheeky Tiggs Condiments branch. And their multifunctional, bold and flavoursome dressings were inspired by the secret recipe of Granny Tig.
Granny Tig.
Nothing artificial, pure ingredients with a generous dash of pure, unadulterated apple cider vinegar, which you wouldn't expect anything else from Hereford. Right, so...
okay.
Yes.
So basil and pea next.
Yeah, okay.
Basil and pea. I'm super smooth and totally fresh suitor, looking to get tiggly. With nice stems, keen beans, friendly fish, and cheesy pasta.
Just going to stir that up a bit. So, all right. Let's see.
You know what, these would also, the mustard one, and I'm suspecting this as well. If you're being somewhat dietetic and you want to have a super healthy lunch of just little crudités, this would be...
Oh, yeah. That's...
Wow, that's basil.
It's very basil. That's like the most pesto-y pesto basil ever.
But the great thing is it's got no cheese in it, has
No,
it? So if you
right,
do
so
that,
that's an
you
issue.
get all that flavour of
and you don't get the raw
pesto.
garlic either.
Yeah.
No.
But that is yummy, yeah.
That's super smooth. I mean, it's strong, but it's super smooth, too. Oh, I really like that.
One of the things I like about these is the appearance of them as well. So often you get some sort of dressing out of the bottle, and it's this sort of homogenous.
Yeah, no, these are very vivid.
You can kind of see the oil.
They look appetizing, too.
Really
They look
homemade.
what they taste. They look like what they taste like.
Yeah, which is hard to get across on radio, but trust us on this.
Trust us, yes.
Yeah.
That basil is green.
It's very green.
Fields of Ireland green. It's lovely.
Awesome.
Oh, this is good. So overall opinion of Tiggs is?
Many thumbs up. I've only got 2 thumbs to put up, but if I had a third... Yeah.
So I'm one of those slightly snooty people who actually makes their own dressings. Who doesn't really believe in store-bought dressings. But these, particularly the way they're packaged as well, because then these little one serving little shots kind of thing. They're
perfect.
brilliant.
Perfect.
They're so portable, and the flavors are really, really good.
So a big thank you to Jacob and Sam James, brother, and a big thank you to Granny Tig.
Yes,
thanks,
thank you, Granny.
thanks, Granny Tig.
Rock.
Excellent. Right. We're now going to move on to, I've forgotten what we've got next. From a Spanish company, Brindisa, who've sent us an interesting selection. We've got, I don't know which order you want to try them in. We've got some, in fact, Patrick's pronunciation was better than mine of the nuts.
I'd suggest let's start with the almonds because
he's been talking about the almonds since last night.
I really can't wait any longer to try the almonds, but also everything else is going to be a bigger flavor than the almonds. So
okay,
so to get a better sense of the almonds.
So we've got go start with these. And what are they? These are
the salted Marcona almonds.
Yeah.
So let's dig in.
Yep.
Almonds, anyone?
And again, having gone through Brindisa's website, you can get these. Locally at, we mentioned Aubrey Allen, the butcher's up in Leamington Spa earlier on. Or, if you've got a couple of $100 in your pocket and you're down in Dalesford, you can get them down there.
That sound you hear is Patrick eating a Marcona almond.
Yeah. This is heaven. This is sunset on a veranda. Oh, you want some too?
Peter often doesn't have any of the tasting, and he's just reached out a hand for the almonds. Yeah, no, this is the perfect bar food.
These almonds, they're wonderful.
Oh, they're really nice. They're not as they're squeaky too.
Yeah.
I think they're kind of, if you like cashew nuts, you'd like these.
They're similar to cashew nuts.
It's more of a subtle flavour.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like these.
And I think you'd polish the whole packet off with you in one sitting.
Yeah, these may walk out with us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You don't need these.
Sorry,
back
no.
do you?
I missed what you said, but they are spoken for.
Yeah, I thought Patrick was sort of exaggerating because I thought, well, they're almonds. We've all had almonds.
They're heaven.
But these are more almondy than most almonds. You know?
Well, yeah. Also, almonds are really only in the past few years are really making inroads into the British market in terms of a salty snack. In the United States, we've had smokehouse almonds for quite a long time.
Yeah, but also...
but they have some strange flavorings.
And also in the United
States,
almonds are, that's the nut in the Hershey bar.
Yeah.
Which, let's face it, substandard in many ways.
But
you go down to Spain in the spring, and it's and you're a regular visitor to Spain.
I missed out.
And there's just fields and fields of almond blossom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to Spain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. Well, we won't finish them off but I think we all agree these can stay.
No, there's an old folks' home in Mollington. I promised them to.
Oh, all right. All right. Well, enjoy the almonds.
Now, the two other products they've sent us are the Iberico flavoured crisps and potted black pudding.
What do you think we should do first, Patrick?
I would go with
the crisps.
Because we just have
Iberian ham flavoured crisps. So they look like crisps. They smell like crisps. Do they taste of ham? I don't know. Let's see.
Okay.
I should preface this. I'm not a ham person. It tastes of something that's not potato crisp. But it doesn't taste like ham to me.
No, it does. It's if you've
does it?
If you eat Iberico ham, they cut it so thin you can see through it, and you don't eat Patrick will tell you that you don't eat Iberico ham. It melts on the tongue.
Yeah.
And you can, if you've eaten, you can taste the flavour.
Yeah. I mean, it's more legit than I was expecting it to be.
I expected when we opened the packet for a pig to jump out and run around the studio, but
that would be fun.
I think it tastes more genuinely meaty than a lot of crisps.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're expecting it to taste exactly like Iberico ham, I think you might disappoint. But it's nice if you consider it in its own right.
And we are just a note for the listeners. We are even though these have been generously supplied by the various companies, we are brutally honest. If we didn't like it, we would say, and we'd edit it out.
Well, no, I mean, I can't comment on the sort of authenticity of ham flavor because, like I said, but the three of you obviously far more ham than I do and speak to that. It's not for me. I don't care for it.
It doesn't. I think what's good about them is that it tastes like you're eating a natural product. Like you don't have that, how many E numbers are in that kind of that odd suspicion on your taste buds about it. And also the texture is nice. It's a little bit greasy, but not unpleasantly greasy. The quote-unquote premium potato crisps that they say, hand-cooked or whatever, they're outright greasy on the tongue.
Yeah.
And that combined with whatever is sprinkled on them to make the flavor is unpleasant. And that's that. I don't know I'd go for a big bag, but I could...
Yeah.
I could nosh on that at lunchtime.
Okay, before you move on to the potted, what is it, potted black pudding?
Yes.
Brindisa, I'll spell that for you, Brindisa. Very good website which lists where the various stockists are, and you can buy online. As you can do going back to Tiggs, Tiggs' website, which is www.tiggitup.co.uk.
Perfect. And, you're not going to forget that.
No, yeah.
No.
Tiggy.
Yeah, and again,
getting Tiggy with it. If they don't use that as a marketing logo,
you're welcome.
And they're they both tweet and big users of social media.
There you go.
Both companies.
So what is next?
This is the morcilla pate.
I'm okay with that. So they're basically black pudding.
Spanish version of black pudding or boudin noir.
Okay. You're so international. Okay.
Gracias.
All right, here we go.
We do have listeners in Spain, funny enough. Kath Boyle down in Manoir. I can never pronounce it. Now, Emma, I'm interested in Emma's take on this because her husband comes from Bolton, and they have black pudding up there before they have their mother's milk.
That's really nice, actually. It's lovely. It's really light. I suppose I'm used to black pudding being sort of quite thick, and sometimes I find it a bit too rich. But this is kind of light and fluffy. It's not like what you'd normally expect from a pâté. It's more almost moussey, isn't it?
It is.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Lovely.
Is there any chance of anybody putting just a little soup on
There you go. There you go. Now I have to say,
determined not to join in.
I've not had black pudding before, and if this is, I like the texture of this because it always looks a little off-putting to me.
Can you tell me what else is in it?
Ingredients?
I can smell like.
I can't pronounce this. You do.
Not that I can see.
There's not many ingredients.
Sangre de, so pig's blood. Oh my god, this is tiny.
None of us are young enough. None of us are young enough to read the label.
Oh my, yeah, you really can't.
No.
There's clearly a little paprika or something going on there.
Yeah.
There's a little spice coming
There's a
through.
spice when I can't work out what it is.
Oh, it's actually, the texture is nice. The lightness is nice.
It's important.
Mushrooms.
Yes.
Yes.
That's it. Mushrooms.
Yeah. I think it's important to say that this is a pâté made from the sausage. It's not the sausage itself. So
yes. But it's delicious.
The sausage would have a different, firmer texture.
Yeah.
But that is gorgeous, and I would. I love that with a glass of sherry, actually.
I was going to say canapes.
Yeah, this would be marvelous. And
Yeah.
I'm also thinking like a chicken version of a Wellington, the chicken breast, and with this replacing the mushroom pâté that goes around the beef in the beef Wellington. Do this with like chicken breasts.
Great, I'll be over.
I thought you were
Tell me what day.
I thought you were about to use the line that you use with the dressings. I make my own dressings. I thought you were about to say you make your own black pudding.
If anybody would, it would be.
Hey, so we're doing quite well. So we've got a thumbs up to Brindisa and thumbs up to Diggs. So let's keep this going. We're now going down the sweet route with
okay.
A company that
I'll keep that by me.
Yeah.
I think Emma might want.
I'm watching you.
A company that I have heard of, Baytree, who are quite well known for their preserves and.
I'm just making a mess.
And I don't know which ones you can choose. Which order you want to start these in?
Shall we? Well, we'll just go in order. What's first?
Lemon and elderflower curd.
Yeah, why don't we go lemon and then the blueberry and then the lemon again, so we're not.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
makes sense.
We've got a clear blue water, as they say.
All right, you do that.
At Oxford.
And again, Baytree have a very good sort of website, the Baytree, and again they tweet and Facebook. And their products are available locally up at Warmington Farm Shops.
Super lemony.
That's lovely. The elderflower really brings out the flavour, doesn't it? It's that
yeah.
sort of.
They're
Are you going to applaud?
beautifully balanced.
They are.
Because the lemon then comes back.
Yeah.
If the lemon lasts, it's got longer legs, as we say in the wine trade. Than the elderflower. But that elderflower right up front is just...
It's lovely.
It's like it's opening the door for the lemon to then come through.
Yes.
It's delicious. Do you want to try some?
It's not a sharp lemon.
No, I'll have some. I'll have some when I take it home.
No, it takes some of the sharpness away, but oh my gosh, that's really good.
It's really nice, that.
And it's not too...
You can kind of taste spring, the season of spring.
That's what it tastes like.
That's really sort of...
I would have that
on
a dreary day to sort of cheer myself up.
Yeah. I would probably just go ahead and eat that with a spoon.
Do you know, this is a shame this is radio, because I've never seen three people looking so happy.
We've had a little bit of culinary sunshine.
All I've given is a plastic fork and a free sample.
Yeah, there you go.
It's a grey, miserable day out there, but not in here.
No.
Not with that stuff. Come to Papa.
So, Emma, you're happy you made the right move by answering the...
That's lovely, yeah. If it's all like this, I'm coming every single show. It's great.
We have tasted some strange things though. We had the cheeses and the sausages.
The cheeses were exceptional.
The cheeses were good. The sausages were a little strange because you were trying to trip us up.
And the pies were a bit... Smoked salmon was good. Fish and chips.
Yeah, no, that was all. The fish and chips was amazing because I didn't expect fish and chips to travel so well.
No.
All right, are we moving on to the
next?
What
You're going down the...
blueberry and lemon.
Blueberry and lemon.
Marma jam.
Great play on words. Mama jam.
Mama jam. Mama jam.
Mama jamma.
This makes crepes creative. Just so you know.
I don't know that I want my crepes to be Oh, okay, that's...
If you there's some forks if you'd rather spoon it out, because otherwise you're going to be full of crisps. Not crisps. What are you eating it on? Cream crackers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Tesco's finest
more
cream
of a
cracker.
kind of jelly. This one, isn't it?
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah.
Do you want some, Peter?
No. I'll have it when I get home. After I finish the... Patrick's pulling a face.
Okay.
No. I'm getting a bit of bathroom cleaner.
Yes.
Baytrue, I do apologise. That's purely the personal opinion of Patrick Loomer, not Puritan's Radio.
Yes, I do.
Now, you see, I like that.
Oh, good. Thank goodness for that.
I don't normally eat...
Deborah, can you swing...
Hold on.
Can you swing the scales, please?
Hold on. Well, I understand what Patrick's saying. However...
I'm going to get one with biscuit or something.
In the same way that the lemon and elderflower sort of... The flavors came in sort of waves. Give it 10 seconds. And the blueberry comes through.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying in the same way that... I mean... I used to joke, and people don't drink it anymore, I guess. I don't even know if it's still available. Remember Tab, the diet soda? Tab tasted like Windex to me. That was not that I had ever drunk Windex, but the smell of Windex reminded me of the taste of Tab. And I understand where you're coming from because I have that first...
It is, you know what, having it with the minute it encountered a biscuit or whatever...
It smoothed it out.
And I have to say, the better brand of bathroom cleaner.
So the rule of thumb for this...
You've dug your hole, stay here.
So make sure to have a biscuit on hand.
Yeah. It needs something biscuity to balance it for me. Or
it was,
Toast and butter?
Yeah. I'm not mad on the texture either, I have to say.
It's not as smooth.
It's more jelly-like, isn't it?
But with bits.
Yeah.
You're not
jelly
a bit...
should be smooth.
Yeah.
You know, so I adored the first one. That's...
What I would say about the second one is that, I mean, I'm not a fan of I'm not particularly a fan of blueberry. I find it rather an insipid taste.
Yeah.
And so what I do like about that is that the flavour of the lemon really brings out the
blueberry.
It really complements the blueberry taste, I think, and it makes it quite nice and tangy.
I mean, it does taste of blueberry. Eventually.
It does, yeah.
I discovered a secret stash of blueberries along the Salt Way this other week. All right, and what do we have last?
I think you've got lemon marmalade with gin and lime.
Gin and lime.
Okay.
Everyone loves a bit of gin. Well, I mean, except for me. Let's see. But in lime, I can, oh, okay.
It's a lot
That's not as thick. It's much looser. So
very fine cut marmalade.
Yeah.
Which is good. I'm not a fan of huge chunks of peel.
It's just tiny slivers of peel.
Oh, I think we like this.
Well, okay,
I did. Somebody goosed Deborah.
Quite tart. And the gin just hit me.
Gosh.
The gin, it's been there. I think people don't realize that lime can be just as tart and just as sour as lemon.
Oh, really?
And it is really, really tart. And I know some people super prefer that, but I'm not a gin person. I understand this makes me very unusual these days because it's so on trend. But I like the taste, but I think I couldn't have very much of it. There's a lot of gin coming through, and it's very tart.
What do you think, Emma?
I think it's the sort of thing that if you put it on your toast in the morning, you definitely leave the house with a spring in your step.
Yeah, it would wake you up.
It is very zingy, isn't it?
It's very zingy. I'm going to get myself in trouble again, but it reminds me of those facial cleansers that wake up your skin in the morning, like the tea tree and mint, and you just go, oh, I'm awake. And it doesn't taste like that, but it's very, as you said, it's very zingy.
Yeah. It is. Yeah, it's a bit of a jolt.
We are sending this clip to Baytrue. I somehow don't think it's going to make the website.
No, I think again, what I'm getting from all three products is the layering of the flavors because they come and they go, and that's a tough thing to do, and that works. And the same thing happens here. You get the lime first, the gin comes next, and then the lime comes back.
And then for me,
the gin lasts a little long from it.
Bitter. Slightly bitter aftertaste.
And
for me, the weird thing is that it's a marmalade. For me, it's like a on toast in the morning kind of thing, and the gin kind of cancels that out. So I don't know where it sits in the day.
Maybe if we were slightly less liberal with the spreading of it, it would be...
maybe.
Yeah, okay.
What I would say, actually, is I would use this as the basis of a cocktail.
Yes, that would be nice.
There's a marketing idea for you, Beatrice.
Yeah, I mean,
You're welcome.
It's not for me as a marmalade, but I think you could make a heck of a good cocktail.
I think you could.
Yeah, we've just had a message from a listener in Switzerland. Said it sounds good. Save some for me. Okay, so Battery, thumbs up.
Yeah, I think they're obviously really well balanced.
Certainly, the
put
lemon
together.
and elderflower curd was brilliant.
And again, all natural products.
Yeah. And I have to say, even if something is not to my particular taste, they're obviously well crafted, well balanced, and they've got the flavors moving through it. So thumbs up all the way around.
And I think one of the things I like is the fact that new products do sometimes come out, and you think, it's a bit Emperor's New Clothes, isn't it? It doesn't really taste different to anything I've had before, but actually, those do.
Are. Yeah,
those do. They are
very
surprising.
And you not only do they each do exactly what they say on the tin, but as a whole, you can sort of feel the company, the ethos of the company.
So
yay, Beatrice. I've just had another comment.
We're getting a lot of comments this week.
A word I've never heard of. Have you, anybody heard of the expression misophobia? Do you know what misophobia is?
Misophobia. I mean, what, fear of miso?
Fear of people.
Is it
people that hate the sound of people eating?
Yes.
Probably shouldn't be.
I'm just going to apologise to. I'm going to apologise to all those thousands of misophobia listeners, but
if there are misophobics,
fear of Japanese cuisine.
I was going to say, there's no sushi for you.
Your hopes there.
Oh dear.
Okay, right.
All right.
And we're now going to end up with a confectionery revolution. Turkish delight as never before. It's,
quite literally, in my case.
I'll read you the press release. It's Turkish delight, but not as you know it.
Oh, okay. So this is my first Turkish delight, and it's not really Turkish delight. That's a lot.
This is Trudy's mini Turkish delight. Mini, melt in the mouth of morsels
I
of
probably
premium.
had too many.
Give one of the yellow ones to Emma.
All natural Turkish delight.
I only have one yellow one.
That's right.
I have a lot of
I'll just read you this bit. Trudy's minis, before you start, Trudy's minis are small chunks of authentic, all-natural Turkish delight in a convenient grab-and-go box. Great for snacking on the go as an alternative afternoon sweet treat or for nibbling on with friends. They meet the growing demand
nibbling
for
friends. What?
Nibbling with friends.
Oh, okay. That's a different thing.
We move on quickly.
Yes. Okay, here we are.
Ask me what shrimping means. Not now, off air. They meet the growing demand for all-natural premium confectionery with provenance, and they are convenient too. Lots of different flavours. About £2.99 a box, and again, their website. And they're fairly local. They're produced in Coventry. So,
okay.
True Delight, www.truede.com.
Now, I was told...
Sorry, I've been corrected. Misophonia.
Misophonia, yes.
Okay. If Turkish Delight, as I was told, is supposed to give me this sort of feeling of rose water, I'm not really getting that.
Well, there's no rose water in this.
Oh, okay. Then
so basically, this is Turkish Delight, but not as we know it.
That's what it says on the press release.
Yeah, because the flavors, they're using non-traditional flavors, except for the pomegranate, which is lovely. And that gives me Middle East. That that's sort of me.
That pomegranate,
1001 Nights, that sort of thing. They're nice.
Perfectly acceptable confectionery. Ooh.
What flavour is it?
You know what? The yellow ones, the lemony ones. Maybe it's because I had the Baytree lemon curd thing, which was so lemony and so delicious. I'm getting slightly... And the only one that doesn't work for me is the lemon. The pomegranate one is delicious.
Now, I'm actually a big fan of Turkish delight. My mum, coming from that part of the world, used to bring me up on Turkish delight, and Patrick will probably know it's impossible to eat without being spotted because they were covered in icing sugar, aren't they? So you'd nick a piece out of the box, but there'd be icing sugar.
There'd be evidence. There'd be evidence.
But this is actually quite good. I was going to mention another producer. I won't mention it, but you can buy a little block of chocolate delight wrapped in chocolate, made by a company of Quakers up in York, and it's absolutely appalling.
I don't know why you would do that either to chocolate or to Turkish delight.
No, it's
they don't sound like they would go together.
Yeah, no. And also texturally against the chocolate, I think that it would be wrong. I'm not exactly feeling Edmund Pevensey being given sweets by the White Witch. All Narnia, dear.
Yeah, no, I understand. Thank you.
What I like about it is that they're really small.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't feel like you're going to
Be chewing for ages.
Yeah. You don't feel challenged by the size. Because that's the thing with gummy things, is that when they're big...
You're there for like ages and you
Well,
look like a cow chewing your cud, yeah.
And it is all natural flavour as
Yeah.
well. So
Yeah.
you
And
get
it
that come
tastes
through.
like
It's
it.
a good flavour.
You don't get the artificial taste you get from a lot of
So
confectionery.
bottom line, thumbs up to True Delight.
Yeah.
So we've done, with the exception of one of the
With
jams,
the exception of one jam, that was
Yeah.
really, I think, all of us have a personal taste
Brilliant.
thing about marmalade.
Okay. Right, well, let's just say thank you to all of you. Emma, thanks. Have you enjoyed it?
Yes, I have it.
And well, we've got about 25 minutes of the show left, and we're going to go back to just a little bit of a chat. We've got something else we can have a look at. Will you stay with us?
Yeah, that's
Okay. Well, we're going to clear up, and I'm just going to make sure that nobody nicks all my lunch.
What are
we're
you talking about?
we'll go out with it. We'll tidy up to a bit of music, and I'll tell you what. We'll play this for Patrick.
Red wine, go to my head.
Sorry, I've got a mouthful of Patrick's nuts.
Peter, this is a family show. This
You're
is
welcome.
A community program. Thank you.
Neil Diamond didn't sing for as long as we thought he was going to, so it's rather caught us out there. Not to wait. What we're going to do, when Patrick was up last time, we had some time to fill, and we pulled up on the screen 50 foods to eat before you die or something, but because it was an American-based website, Deborah had eaten all of them. And it's still with us.
Well, I started out young and got used to it.
Now, I printed some off from the Huffington Post. For those of you that don't know, Huffington Post, it's an online newspaper that doesn't pay any contributors. My pronunciation here, because I don't know what half these places are or where they are. Number one of the things that you must eat before you die is a chocolate chip cookie from the Levain Bakery.
No. You don't buy chocolate chip cookies. You make chocolate chip cookies. Chocolate chip cookies. It's about eating the dough. Leftovers
from the bowl. Yeah.
If you're making chocolate chip cookie dough correctly, it may not ever make it into cookie form.
Okay.
That oven might not be turned on.
Have you heard of the Levain Bakery?
I don't care what kind of bakery it is. I'm sure they're good. I'm sure it's lovely. But I'm not there to diss products. But
They're not that
that's a home
complicated.
thing. Yeah.
If I'm going to buy something from a bakery, it's going to be more complicated than a chocolate.
Yeah, it's going to be patisserie.
Yes.
Emma, you
This sounds a bit unexciting. I mean, my experience of chocolate chip cookies is.
I think it's the specific. I think it's the specific bakery that
Make
they're.
your own chocolate chip
Yeah.
cookies, and you'll see the difference.
I think it's the specific bakery that they're referring to.
Sure.
Number two, I'm a big fan of these sweetbreads.
Oh yes, love sweetbreads.
Yeah.
Yep.
Isn't it funny? You've got three of you all quite happy and nodding, yet most people turn their noses up.
Well, I don't think any of us find awful.
He'll be here all week trying the chicken or the veal.
Yeah.
Last time I had those, I think, was down in the south of France somewhere in a very understated little cafe, and it was omelettes with sweetbreads.
Ooh.
That was a starter for dinner. It was really good.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of omelettes and I'm a fan of sweetbreads, but the two together doesn't immediately appeal.
You had to be there.
Yeah.
It's all part of the experience.
I'm sure this cropped up on the previous thing, so it's interesting on this list. And somebody started singing to me. A roast chicken that you make in your own oven.
Yep.
Or you roast it. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
It's one of those things that I don't understand why you would, if you're going to go out to eat, why would you order a roast chicken?
You wouldn't.
I mean, it's happily home food.
Okay.
My husband makes it with preserved lemons and garlic.
Preserved lemons.
It is fantastic.
We always buy the cheapest chicken from Tesco's for about £3 and stuff it with every herb we can find and lemon. Excuse me, lemons, garlic, and oh, your nuts are sticking in my throat.
Wow! Wow!
Sorry, almonds.
I'm obsessed with spatchcocking chickens now, and I that way because also that way you can marinate. You can't marinate a whole chicken, but you can as soon as you remove the backbone.
Okay, and number 4, which again I think cropped up, but I think it's probably from the other side of the Atlantic. Lobster rolls.
Yes.
I live for the day I get to try a lobster roll.
Have you
But,
not? No.
but they're going to have to take the celery out.
There is a little there's a little postscript to this.
Okay.
The little postscript with lobster rolls. He said, actually, you should eat as many of these as you possibly can in your lifetime.
Yeah.
I am not a huge fan of lobster generally, but in a lobster roll.
What is a lobster roll? Is it a roll with lobster in, or is it?
No,
something
you've taken
else?
the lobster meat.
Yeah.
It's chopped into chunks and mixed with, and there will be all sorts of people who have their proprietary mix and spices and stuff with it, sort of a mayonnaise spice.
Imagine kind of like a prawn mayonnaise sandwich, except it's chunks of lobster.
Okay.
Yeah,
and it's done in a very soft roll. It's very very Maine, New England sort of thing.
Yeah.
Good.
I'll put it on my list.
But they're very, very good.
Number 5, a real ramen, not from the packet.
What is it? Oh,
Noodles
real
is,
ramen.
is it Japanese noodle dish, isn't it?
I only know ramen from a packet. I guess
I only know it from Wagamama.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a noodle dish.
Yeah.
Dish, to which I say pho.
Pho.
Or if you're in Vietnam,
We appreciate. I think what they're comparing it to is pot noodles, because they say we appreciate
Anything
instant
compared to
ramen for getting us through college, but it's given real ramen a bad name. Eating a bowl of ramen is like being hugged from the inside.
Yeah, noodle dishes are comfort food.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where they come
Now, I'm really pleased about number 6 because I have actually done this where they said beignets at the Café du Monde.
Yes. There are many good reasons to go to New Orleans. Beignets are right up there.
They're man-catching beignets.
Just little pillowy clouds that melt in the mouth.
Love beignets.
Totally different to a donut.
And you can go, but you can go sweet
it's a
or you
puffy,
can go savory.
it's
They're
a puffy,
amazing.
light.
I want to go to New Orleans just to have a beignet.
Oh yeah.
And a poor boy.
Now this is where we, if she's still listening, this is where we upset the listener in Switzerland. The listener in Switzerland, by the way, is my daughter.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say.
yeah. And so far, every time we've been out for a meal, it's been disappointing, apart from the pizza we had in Germany.
Okay.
And number 7 on the list is a raclette. They've even got special pans that you stick on the table with a raclette.
Yeah.
Basically, it's
I've
melted
never been
cheese.
excited by it.
No,
I
I'm
love
not,
cheese, but I'm
just-
not that excited by
I'm
it.
not a huge fan of cheese.
It's potatoes.
I like cheese, but
Yeah, the classic
Basic.
raclette is potatoes, cheese melted on top of potatoes with pickles and charcuterie.
yeah,
Just
that
get
sounds
the pickle-
nice.
Get
Après
pickles out of
ski.
there, and I'll be there.
Well, yeah. I suppose après ski that could be fun. I mean, I'm the
Do
kind
I
of,
have to
I can't
ski?
eat
I'd be a
cheese shortly
disaster
before bed. I
skiing.
get nightmares. So
I just don't like raclette. It
And I've
just seems
done-
an awful lot of work for not very much.
yeah.
All right.
And I've done this as well. I've actually done this. Fries with homemade mayonnaise in front of the mannequin qui pisse. That's the little statue of the boy in Brussels.
The
you know.
boy.
Yeah.
In Brussels.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have mayonnaise
That
on
sounds
every.
a very personal. I mean, whoever.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very personal sort of thing.
Yeah.
I've made mayonnaise. I don't
Why
know
would
do
you
it all-
make homemade mayonnaise and then go
and
out?
then go out?
I don't. That's the
Good,
bit I
it's
don't
very
understand.
good.
Or
I
am
like
I
it.
whisking in front of the
Or is this one of
statue?
those things where you're at a restaurant that says homemade sauce and you think, okay, so either they bring it into the restaurant or some poor fool lives in that kitchen.
Now this, I'm not 100% certain. They refer to the south here, so I don't know which country they're referring to the south on. I'll pimento cheese.
They mean the American South.
It might not sound like much, but it's possibly the greatest thing the South has ever given us.
That's a lie. There's a lot of things the South has given us, and pimento cheese is at the bottom of the list. That's the thing you can blame them for. I don't like pimento cheese. Have you?
It's
Emma's turning a nose up.
I despise pimentos. I'm sorry,
Yeah?
but every time we
It
go to
doesn't improve
France,
cheese.
it's the only
Yeah.
kind of flavouring in French supermarkets. It's so boring.
This is quite. This is another interesting. And oh gosh, I'm really smug. I've done this one as well. Hot chestnuts, preferably eaten whilst walking down the Champs Elysees.
Well, I guess you've got to eat them somewhere.
Yeah, I guess.
If I
Okay.
must eat
There used to be a chestnut cellar in Banbury a few years back by the town hall.
Well, I remember when they were still around in London.
Yeah.
And now it's all back in the day, it was you knew autumn and winter were coming on because chestnuts.
Chestnuts,
But now
yeah.
it's the peanuts.
Yeah.
Don't really smell the same.
Chestnuts. I mean, I was making a chestnut stuffing for Thanksgiving, and I thought I'm going to do it the right way. I'm going to buy the chestnuts. I'm going to pierce the chestnuts. I'm going to roast the chestnuts. I'm going to peel the chestnuts. Halfway through peeling the chestnuts, I was contemplating suicide. and I had very little to be thankful for at that point. So, and again with the eating hot chestnuts, but I think it's
that's more that they're
it's about
walking
ambiance.
Yeah.
Right, we've got 4 things now, which all owe themselves to the States by the looks of it. We thank the Americans for giving us ceviche.
Ceviche. Well, that would be South America.
South America.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to
Ceviche,
say.
yeah. You don't feel like cooking? Throw it in some lime juice.
Yep.
Simple as that.
Absolutely.
Number 12, breakfast at a diner, any diner.
Yes.
Specifically a New York diner.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You could have breakfast in a diner in other parts of the country, but no.
Yeah, breakfast in a diner.
Yeah.
Now there is a prerequisite to this. You must have a shocking hangover for the full American diner experience.
Yeah.
You have to have gotten home from the bar maybe 2 hours before you've gone out for breakfast.
Really?
In fact, you might not even have gotten home. Actually, the way it really works is to go for your diner breakfast
on the way home.
On the way home
Luckily in
from
New York.
singing yourself hoarse at a New York piano bar until 5 a.m.
Right.
That's a very specific thing that we might have experienced.
Right. I've no idea where this comes from or if I'm even pronouncing it correctly. Hot stone bowl bibimbap? Bibimbap.
Bibimbap. It's
Thank you very much. I'm really glad we asked.
I think that's like a Vietnamese.
That's it.
It's an Asian roll, steamed dough bun sort of thing. I think.
Yeah.
Sweet or savoury?
Savoury. This one's got a fried egg on top.
Vietnamese are not big on sweet.
The bottom line is the crisps, the rice that crisps at the bottom of the stone bowl will make you happy for years to come. Presumably you're picking it out of your teeth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not big on those things where end up with like super crispy rice at the bottom.
No, because that just to me feels burnt.
Yeah, I'm just going to be paying a dentist eventually.
Oh dear. This is right up Deborah's Street.
Oh dear, this is right up Deborah's Street.
No. It's what they say you do at the end. Stone crabs are the lobster of South Florida, and they must be eaten with Joe's stone crab mustard sauce.
Well, yeah, most people would. I don't eat it with the mustard sauce, but yeah, if you want the full stone crab experience, yes.
And the mustard sauce must be good enough to drink out of a glass.
No, I haven't done that.
No.
I'm not.
Well, if you're getting, I mean, it's bad. I can see the logic in that if you're going to smother a crab in mustard sauce, it better be really good mustard sauce. Because otherwise, why do that to a crab?
We've got a very English one now. Emma and I will appreciate this.
Good.
Strawberries picked fresh from the field.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, as long as they've not been smothered with loads of stuff. I mean, homegrown strawberries are. I still can't get over how you can eat them with no sugar whatsoever and they taste divine. But the stuff you get in the shops isn't the same.
You do. Here's the thing. For me, the blackberry is far more English than the strawberry. That's my childhood was picking blackberries with my granny. That said, I have been pickling strawberries this week.
Oh, really?
Pickling
in what?
them in apple cider vinegar.
Gosh.
Oh, no, not apple cider vinegar. I'm so sorry. A white balsamic vinegar.
Yeah, I was going to say
with
that.
black pepper.
Black
and
pepper
basil.
and I've eaten them with. I haven't pickled them, but I've eaten them.
They're really really nice.
Strawberries with strawberries.
You get, like in a spinach salad with Parmesan shavings.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, and the three just work.
Tangy.
Yeah, it's tangy, and then you got the saltiness from the
Strawberries with
with feta and almonds.
Yeah, strawberries with black pepper on is really nice.
Taking strawberries that way, because I agree, strawberries are
a bit insipid sometimes.
A lot of times, well, they're usually over refrigerated.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Now this is one of my favourites. This does not appeal to many people. Lardo.
What?
Lardo literally is chunks of lard.
No.
Yeah, before it's been rendered down. You know, when they do the big prosciuttos and hams, you've got the big layer of fat. They cut it into chunks.
Yeah. Well, also the fat is some of the loveliest bit on the prosciutto, actually.
Nah.
Lardo is an Italian cured.
You can melt it onto bread, and it's
all right.
Yeah.
Lardo is an Italian cured back fat that melts in your mouth like a bag of M&Ms.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Eat it as
try it to be convinced.
Weird comparison.
Eat it as antipasto with a glass of wine.
Yeah.
Those Italians know how to eat.
Okay, we'll go back. Pancakes with real maple syrup.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Oh, and by the way, don't put bananas on them. Don't. Just eat your pancakes with maple syrup.
Maple syrup's horrendously expensive, isn't it?
Well, it's
only if you're here.
Here it is. Yeah. But it is expensive. It is expensive.
But if it's real
so,
maple
by the way,
syrup,
are the Marcona almonds very very expensive.
Yeah.
Okay.
But maple syrup is worth it.
Yes. It is lovely.
Now I've not done this next one. I'm prepared to have an outside bet that Patrick may have done it.
Okay.
Freshly ricotta preferably made by yourself.
No, but I would love to, because apparently it's actually really easy to make. And, well, I mean, there are people, I think ricotta is kind of, it's a bit like queso fresco or paneer or whatever. It's you can make it every day, you know.
Okay. I'm
It would be cottage cheese, because cottage cheese is just depressing.
Oh, yes.
You know,
it's not a food, is it, really?
No, it takes you right back to diets of the 1970s. And
especially when
it makes me think of
Yeah, exactly.
It makes me
exactly.
think of institutional food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, number 19 is one of my favourites, steak tartare.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
it's everything-
everyone should try. Well, I mean, obviously not if you are adopting a,
Certain restricted diets.
Princess,
Certain
well,
restricted diets,
Kate Middleton couldn't eat it at the moment.
At the moment, no. Congratulations.
Unless
by
you
the
could probably
way.
use the iron.
I mean, it's everything you shouldn't eat, raw meat and a raw egg.
Yeah, but
heaven.
if you are foodily inclined, culinarially inclined, and try it. It's one of those things you should try.
Yeah.
I had one, I was at the
Probably prepared, of course.
Michel Roux Senior's restaurant, the Waterside of Bray, a few years ago, and they did a little miniature one as one of the canapes, and it, without that, I can still taste it now. It was absolutely sensational, just melted. Now, I agree with this one, but again, I bet my money's on you two, having been to this place. A chocolate croissant, but preferably from the Tartine Bakery in San Francisco. Anybody
I
been?
have been to the Turkish bakery in
well
San
done.
Francisco.
2
Not
points.
for years, but
Yeah.
It's a very good bakery. They make many good things. I hadn't thought about the chocolate croissant.
They're supposed to be the best in the world from there.
So it's a chocolate croissant as opposed to a pain au chocolat.
No, it's a pain au chocolat.
Okay.
It is San Francisco. I mean, yeah, but
Yeah, it's funny
an
because
American
if you look at the photograph, I'd call that a pain au chocolat.
Yeah,
It's
it is a
definitely
pain au chocolat. Is it the best in the world?
Sternly written letter to the editor on that one.
I don't know.
I can't agree with these next two. Yes, I can woof it down, but I wouldn't have thought it's worth being 21 on the list. Freshly made whipped cream.
Yes.
I mean, cream is...
I wouldn't make a habit of it, but if you want to really push the boat out and impress someone, and you've made,
excuse me, I'm bad.
the world's most indulgent flourless chocolate cake, and you want something to sort of lighten it up a bit, but you want it to be as special as the cake, yes. You could even put a little bit of,
When you've got a pot of cream in the fridge and it's just gone past its sell-by date, do you make your own butter with it?
No. Cream never lasts that long in my house.
It's one of the easiest things in the world. You just stick it in
Oh, you shake it in a jar.
No, you stick it in a... Oh, you don't want to do that. That hurts your wrist. You just stick it in a Magi mix or a Moulinex or wherever you've got. Hit the button and then it separates. And it really is the... Yeah.
Overmix. I was whipping cream for a pie, and I overwhipped it to the extent that it was actually butter. So, yeah. Well, it's a good arm workout. I mean, if you're gonna,
no.
But okay.
This one
more exciting things.
This
one
I
depends
don't-
what you do with the whipped cream.
Yeah. This one means absolutely nothing to me. Avocado eaten straight from the skin with a spoon. I'm not a fan of avocados.
No, I don't like avocado.
I love avocado. I'm thankful that they didn't say avocado toast, because that's one of these sort of very achingly hip food things at the moment that's supposed to be terribly good for you, and you pay shocking prices for it at cafes
What is it?
and restaurants.
Avocado mashed on toast.
That's literally all it is avocado mashed on toast.
It's not even mashed.
It's quite a popular.
It's just mashed.
It's quite a popular breakfast dish, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly, because it's very good for you and very
Okay.
artisanal
I don't
and
like
hipster.
avocados. I don't like the taste. I don't like the texture. I'm the only one in the history of my mother's entertaining background to not like her guacamole.
Oh, okay.
Everyone else.
But eating
steals it
straight
to
with a spoon straight from the skin, no, because avocados
No.
need seasoning of some sort. They're so bland.
Well, one of Tiggs's dressings.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, actually, the basil.
Yeah.
The basil on that one
that
would be
would
lovely.
go.
Right. I hope I'm going to pronounce this properly. I don't even know which country it is. A loaf of bread from Sfoglia Bakery. Sfogli. It's either in San Francisco or Rome. It's got to be.
Yeah,
I'm not.
There's some lovely breads in Rome.
And then some lovely breads in San Francisco that are no doubt artisanal.
No, I've just read the notes. It's £8.50 loaf, and it's in New York City.
Oh, okay. Well,
And yes, they sell out super fast, but their fresh
Yeah, but
baked
you know
bread
what?
is washed in olive oil and dusted with salt. It puts all
but
others
washed
to shame.
in olive oil?
Why would you wash?
Washed in olive oil.
You wouldn't see them doing
That's
that.
just pansy.
If you are in New York and you suddenly
Irritating.
get a hankering for
Yeah.
sort of a really nice thing, just go to Zabar's, get some
Yeah.
bread,
Don't worry about it.
Make your own darn bread. It's easy.
Not New York.
This is an interesting one. Tomato soup and grilled cheese. You've
Yes.
probably had grilled cheese, and you've most likely had tomato soup.
Mm-hmm.
But until you've had them together, you don't know how wonderful life can be.
Y'all decided upon you have been missing out.
Yeah.
Grilled cheese and a tomato sandwich.
soup,
It's the best winter lunch.
Yeah.
Absolutely heavenly.
Yep.
So where do you have the grilled cheese? Actually on top of the soup?
No, just next to each other.
But you
Soup
can
and a
also
sandwich
dip
is a very American diner thing as well
okay.
for lunch.
Dip it in.
Yeah, you can dip it into
Grilled
the tomato
cheese
soup.
on toast.
Yeah.
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 And then the very last item on the list is a tamale. Eating a tamale is like opening the best present you've ever received. You unwrap the corn husk to reveal a masa dough that's hiding an even more delicious filling. It's a very beautiful thing. I'd never heard of it until I've heard it.
I'm. What's that old rule about never having anything on the plate that you can't eat?
Yeah.
That's how I feel about tamales. Is that there's a lot of effort going into getting it through that. It makes the food taste lovely, but there's a lot of faffing before you get
I'd
to
rather
it.
have a burrito.
Yeah.
Good.
Preferably a burrito the size of my own head.
Okay, well, you know, we're sort of coming to the end of the show, so it's gone very quickly. A big thank you to Patrick coming all the way from London again.
Thank you very much
I hope
for
you've
having
enjoyed
me.
it.
It's been wonderful.
Yeah, Emma, I hope you enjoyed your first.
I did indeed.
Yeah,
Thank
we're
you
going to see
very
you again.
much. Oh yes, indeed.
And Deborah, well, of course you'll be back.
I got nothing else to do.
And the almonds are still here.
Yeah.
No, stop it.
And a thank you from me. Now I'm back on. When am I back? I'm back on Wednesday with my 2-hour music show where I've got to apologise to how rude I was to the people of Middleton Cheney last week. I actually meant Fenny Compton. So we've got 2 hours of music and irreverent chat. Anybody wants a request, you know how to get hold of me, so just ping that in. So again, million thanks to everybody in front of me, and a million thanks for listening to the show.